Hey, let's make sure the headset is actually picking up, and then we'll do my bit. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. My name is actually Newsun Zeng. These days, I work for LSS. I'm coming at you live from Auckland, New Zealand, where I test everything but Levia. That's right. You can find me balancing cards to be absolutely broken unless they are in the Levia deck. Now, let's get into the stream. It is funny though. I have Newsun Zeng's little card here. I picked it up from him. That was pretty funny. Oh shoot, I'm actually not picking up the desktop thing. Let's see. Audio input capture. No, wrong one. There we are. Okay, now you can hear the background music, which will bump down just a tiny bit. Okay. Yeah, hey everyone. Back in New York, where it is really, really cold. But oh my god, that music is so loud. Sorry, 1 second. Let me bump that down again. There we go. Okay. Cat Cam when? He's around. He's messing with my Amazon order in the back there. But you might notice a couple things. First of all, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in. There's like two main new things on stream here. Number one, hopefully you can tell the camera is significantly better. This camera is going to be the new overhead I use in the traveling stream setup. It is a Sony mirrorless camera, A6000 or 600, so it's not like the newest model, but it's pretty damn nice. I mean, look at what it does just for the face cam. So that'll look really good at when we actually head out to SCGCon this weekend and do the whole setup, because I tested it all last night. My god, it works beautifully. It really does. So I'm really excited to get that going. But for now, we've got stories to tell you about Worlds. Oh, someone... How do I see who subscribed? Oh shoot, I don't have that pop-up on this screen. I don't know who did it, but thank you. Thank you, whoever subscribed. That angle is wide. Yeah, it's picking up. This is literally like my entire house. I don't live in a very big apartment. It kind of sucks. I literally downgraded from Michigan to New York and yet like almost doubled the rent. And I don't even live in the city. It's kind of awful. But yeah, you've got my kitchen. And then kind of living room. Little TV. The cat's knocked over some books. The cats are messing with my Amazon order. The cats have their cat scratcher. So you can kind of see the whole deal. Somehow missed you at Worlds. No. Pankaj, actually, I don't know if that's how you say your name. I saw you a couple times. I was just, getting swarmed by so many people, I couldn't hop over and actually say hello. Which is, like, not really an exaggeration. Worlds was pretty cool. I had some, like, really out-of-body moments where I'm, just poking around at, like, some vendor stall and trying to buy something like these beautiful keychains. Let me get some. There. Buying, like, little beautiful keychains. Little Levi keychains. And all of a sudden, people would be like, is that man Sant? And I'd turn around and there are like 7 people. Which is kind of very funny, kind of cool. But no, I did see you. I did see you a couple times. That's my bad. I should have gone and said hello. Anarchy, Ethan, so sad I missed you at Worlds. Would have been awesome to hang again. Hey, it's all right. It is hard to make my Worlds experience better than it was. But if hanging out with you, Anarchy, would have done it, then damn, sorry I missed it. But it was really an amazing Worlds. No problem. Starting your playmat. Are we brewing Levi decks with Dynasty? Well, unfortunately, there's been some realizations about Levia, and this actually harkens back to like the whole story that I want to tell today. I mean, I don't really think gameplay is like that relevant for me at the moment. Definitely want to play some games. But like, I'm not playing at SCGCon. I'm doing the coverage. So while I do need to learn all the cards, which I feel like I know pretty well already, I'm not trying to cram and test for decks. I need to instead just decompress still, tell everything that I uncovered over at Worlds from all my conversations. Didn't lose any cards this trip. No, but there are stories in that regard too. All right, geez, how long has it been? There was that shitty little stream from when I was in Denver, right? We did have like that tiny little stream. just because I had nothing else to do, so I wanted to at least go over those live games, which, let me pull those up. If you haven't seen it, it's not the highest quality watch, which is unfortunate, but I did do like a real quick Denver weekend stream just to go over what that weekend was for me. But it's really been 2 weeks since like the last real stream, right? 13 days ago over here. I did stream the top cut of that PTI event at Denver. I did do a bit of like a test house stream, and then here we are today. So let's go back all the way back to that Denver trip and just talk about it a little bit. It's going to be a wild meta this weekend. It's first Battle Hardened. Hey, then it's the perfect one to show up to because even the best players don't have enough reps yet to really know if they've cracked the meta or not. So maybe it could be you. Maybe it could be you. Last Battle Hardened Philly, last SCGCon Philly, was when Starvo had just come out. It was the first event with Everfest Legal. And so everyone knew Starvo was pretty darn good, but no one had the list yet. And that's when the like Awakening Starvo really appeared, was at SCGCon Philly. Because it had done well, like Casino Starvo had done well at like some smaller thing, like the week previous. But the Awakening Starvo with like Pulverize and all that had not popped up until SCGCon. So it's it's kind of a big event. The timing of this seems to be right around new set releases, so it'll be a really exciting one. Any Arakni gameplay today? Maybe. I've got a build that I would like to try, but in reality, I do want to just oops, let's close this. I do want to talk through some stories here, and like the first thing to mention actually, speaking of Talishar. So check this out. I don't know if y'all have seen the UI update for Talishar. It's not completely integrated into the client yet, like it's still a bit of a beta. But the way you access it, which I've already screwed up, is by opening up a Talishar game. So, you can click on like a Talishar game. And then if you want to see it in the new client, you can click Use Beta Client. And what's really cool about this is, I don't know if y'all remember, like months ago, I was saying, oh my gosh, Talishar is going to get real good. Talishar is going to look so good. Oh my gosh, the work they're putting into is awesome. This is what I was working on with Talishar months ago. It was namely led by Lost in Space. Great dude. I think he has his own YouTube as well. But I sent over a bunch of kind of like UI tweaks, and he took most of it and ran with it, asked for some like UI elements specifically that I did build. The whole map breakdown is something that I suggested pretty early on, with just the combat chain being clear, an actual dividing line, and I wanted it to actually show the different combat links, but it is a bit cluttered, so that didn't actually get to stick around, unfortunately. But then the other things were just kind of the consistency of the overlay, using like the dark flesh and blood red, and then I built this and this for them as well. So this is actually, I don't love it. I only built this in Figma, so it's not like, it wasn't even in Photoshop. It's not done as well as it should. But the idea here was to use the Sigil of Solace silhouette, right? Because Sigil of Solace is like the most akin to life kind of, shape that we have in Flesh and Blood. Like if you see the Sigil of Solace, you should think of life gain. So that's what this is. It's the little rock from the Sigil of Solace art. Sigil of Solace. Right? Look at this. See? It's the same little thing right here. Same shadows too. But it is in green instead of blue, because green more immediately equates to life than blue. But it's pretty close. And then this little sword thing, like I said, I'm not hugely in love with it. It's a little too bland. So I'll probably work on that. But this was actually before Talishar was showing whose turn it was on this thing, which was always strange to me. Oh, thank you, Kat, for launching. Which was always strange to me, because like they always had this little bit here that like could pop up and show action points, but back when I was helping them out with this, it didn't do that. So that's what this was supposed to do. it's like a sword here that changes red or blue depending on whose turn it is, and then this secondary sword will drop up or down depending on, you know, whether you have the action point or not. So that's all that is. This could be blended a bit better, you know, like add in some grass or something, like some of the wheat, make that look more of like a natural connection than just, you know, hidden behind the hilt. But then this as well, this little banner, rather than this bland little gray box that doesn't really fit with the rest of the screen's aesthetic. We've got, nope, cat, nope, you get out of here. We've got this, which is just kind of like a hanging banner next to kind of the central banner here. And this stone is actually the wrong color. It should be darker next to the sigil. But anyway, that's what I helped them out with. And pretty excited that it's finally back. That it's finally back on the table. Because I don't really know what happened to it. It like disappeared for a couple months. I think the guy was just busy. But now he is working on it again. And we'll finally get Talishar looking super nice and crispy. Super nice and crispy. So really excited about that. Anyway. I don't have like my personal overlay worked out to match it super well, so we'll probably still use the old Talishar, just because it's also less buggy. Okay. What else? I decided we can close this. Also, what might happen today is the ban list is supposed to drop, so that we might be able to catch that live, which would be kind of cool. Hey there, Ethan. How's it going? Yeah, it's going well. We just popped into the stream here. It's been 2 weeks since the last normal stream, but as you can see in the top right, I do want to switch up the stream schedule as well. After hearing from everyone at Worlds, most people watch the stream at work, which makes sense. Nice background noise. Watch some Talishar games, whatever. Learn about Levia. No one really watched the nighttime streams, or if they did, it was only because it was their time at work. But that seems to be, you know, the exception, not the norm. This time slot of like 1 to 4 EST is better for almost everybody. So I'm going to do that Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, Team Covenant streams at this time. I'm not going to try to compete with them. Plus, I love them. So we'll just switch to that. Which Fi card would bring his power down enough to make him less uninteresting? I don't really want it to happen, but I really could see Art of War on the ban list. I could. It would drastically reduce Fi's early hands of just, oh, I drew the nuts, my damage is too good. And it's also probably safe as a preemptive ban with the Katsu list. I haven't really played against it that much. I hear it's nuts. But Art of War is the kind of card that busts it, right? And of course, you know, we would lose a little bit of power with Levia, but I think most people are wrong. They hate that card. I love Art of War in Levia, but if we lose it, it's okay. We will be able to build around it. Man, what are you guys doing for work that you can just watch streams? I don't know. I mean, I also work from home, so if someone was streaming, I could just toss it on in the background. Arakni doesn't use Art of War. Yeah, no, he doesn't. I haven't seen that, at least. Art of War ban would kill some Lexi list. I think the Lexis that are performing are not using Art of War. Like the Lexi that made top 8 in the calling was just Ice Lexi. So I think most Lexi lists will be fine. And on top of that, do we even know if Art of War slots into like the new builds with the bow? I'm not quite sure. It's probably okay. Crouching Tiger Katsu is a bit nuts already. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've only played against it a couple times, and it wasn't that great. Maybe they just like didn't draw the nuts. But it was just, yeah, it was like okay damage, but for a deck like Levia, you can interrupt mask enough that it didn't seem to spiral that badly. I work from home doing tech support, so there's no tickets, people calling, and a lot of downtime. Yeah, perfect. Okay, there we go. That's some intro spiel. If anyone missed it, my name's actually Newsun Zeng these days. I work for LSS. Catch me in the office on Tuesdays. Yeah. This is like my favorite memento from Worlds. I have his little lanyard here. Officially a game developer, I guess. Also officially part of Team Sunflower Samurai. Took down Pablo, so they just let me in, you know. No, not actually, but I do like those guys. Okay. So Worlds, let me see. I do need some help with the timeline in here. Let me pull up my YouTube channel, because we're scatterbrained enough. Also, if you guys haven't seen this video yet, Wisnu Tan's Levia concept art, it's absolutely awesome. Go watch it. But here we go. So what was it? 13 days ago was the last stream. All right, so as most of you know, or at least could assume since I've been missing, yes, I've been on the road for almost 3 weeks straight now. There was the Columbus Battle Hardened that lasted a pretty long time because I wasn't just there for the weekend. I was there for like an extra 2.5 days, like into Wednesday almost. So got back and was already like very, very much under pressure to just jump on the road and get to Denver. So I had like 1 day to build my decks, and I realized, you know what? I really haven't locked anything anyway, so I'm just going to bring like all my Leviathan cards and just, build something for each event. Like not lock a list yet. I'll just bring like every single Leviathan card and just do that. Show up, feel what's right on the day, and just bring that version of a list rather than lock. So that was already like pretty wrong, but it's okay. Bringing your cards with you is nice in case you do change your mind. But that definitely set the tone for this whole idea of, well, I'm just going to take all this on a whim and just see what happens. So I show up in Denver, and I actually do lose my bag, just FYI. I show up in Denver. Actually, is it better to switch to the first? There we go. I do show up in Denver, and my bag is delayed by 3 hours. So I already got in late at like 11. And I thought, okay, hey, like Mark Mo Bogsley from over at Hometown TCG Team of Sant, yo, come pick me up. I'm here. And so he comes over, and I'm waiting for my bag, and I'm like, hey, sorry, man. Bag's not out yet. Just wait a little bit more. He's like, okay, it's fine. All of a sudden, an hour passes. I'm like, Mark, I think you should just go home. I don't know what's happening here, but I can't leave my bag again. But he's like, no, it's fine. I'll wait out for you. It can't be that much longer, right? Well, fast forward, all of a sudden, 3 hours later, the bag finally appears. And the whole thing that's going on in the background is that the Frontier airline like help desk, which Frontier Airlines, the airline I use, was just getting absolutely swarmed by these people from Florida. So I didn't really get up in there and like figure out what was going on. My Rochester flight was really small. There were only like 20 of us kind of hanging around, but there were like 100 plus Floridians just like hounding the Frontier desk this whole time because their bags were also delayed by way worse than 3 hours. I think it was like coming on like 6 hours for them. It was insane. So they were all mad and yelling, and I didn't really want to get into that. So I was just kind of waiting, talking with the other Rochester people. And, finally, patiently waiting. My bag did appear. I don't know why it took so long. The Floridians didn't even get their bags yet still. So that's just it. It just took forever. Felt really bad for Mark because he doesn't sleep that much. So he picks me up. We go to his place, just crash. I get up for Denver, and I lock a list that I guess hadn't played like card for card before with Leviathan, but I felt pretty good about it. Just like a recursion list that can side in like 3 pulping, 3 wild ride, just in case you have to try to aggro people. But it was mainly built for like a Oldhim Dromai Icelander type of meta. And luckily for me, the Battle Hardened was that. I showed up and went 5-2 on the day, and only had 2 losses out of 7 rounds, which is actually like pretty amazing for Leviathan. It's what you have to like for 7 rounds. You need to be very happy with a record like X2, because that means you took 1 loss to variance, which I did. I did just absolutely punt a game against. Oh, it was against an Oldhim. Yeah. I absolutely just punted a game against an Oldhim. I'm not entirely sure like where the mistakes were, but I didn't set up the late game properly and was just always dead to a bluffed pummel, which eventually he had and I did die to. So that was just my bad. It wasn't like truly a self-imploding thing. It's just like one of those games that probably misplayed. But then I did have the Leviathan luck game against Kano, which maybe doesn't actually count as like a true Leviathan luck game, but like that matchup is one you absolutely don't want to see. Like you just don't want to play against Kano. Leviathan has a really tough time. You can win, but it's not great. And sure enough, I played that game on stream and did not win. Got very close. Lethal was on the stack. If I'd drawn even a blue instead of double yellow that turn, I would have lived and won. But that's all right. So I end up 5-2. The issue is that a Battle Hardened 5-2 is like never quite good enough for top cut. So I did bubble out, and that felt a little upsetting, but is what it is. So then next day, PTI event, I play the same exact list and once again go 5-2. And this one I really did have a ridiculous Leviathan game where I was winning pretty early on against Alexi, and they played a hypothermia and just like passed. And my hand was like pulping, blue, whatever. And I could have just played pulping and that's it. Like just deal 6 damage, move on. But I was definitely greedy. I had I had had the opportunity to roll Scabskins, right? And just kind of maybe take the game away. The issue is in that matchup, I was running Skull Crushers, not Gambler's Gloves. So it is always risky to roll Scabs. The issue is in helping me decide there was that it was only like turn 2, so I didn't have Blood Debt anyway. It was just, anything's okay other than a 1 at this point. Like a 1 is bad, but at least I don't take Blood Debt, but a 1 also loses my Skull Crushers that I hadn't blocked with. So it was definitely a greedy play. I didn't have to do it, but Kendra was right there. Kendra, another Legal Leviah player. And so I'm like, oh, hey, Kendra, like, come over. Why don't you roll Scabs for me? Ha ha ha, let's have fun. And she's terrified. She's like, please don't make me roll Scabs. I don't want to do this. Like, I always roll a 1. I'm like, no, Kendra, it'll be fine. Like, it's just for fun. Like, roll a 1. We're okay. We're ahead. She comes over. She rolls. It's a 1. And I lost the game because of it. Truly, it was... I didn't take Blood Debt, like I said. But at the same time, like, it was still the huge momentum shift. Because all of a sudden, Lexi just got, like, a free 5 cards. I dealt 0 damage. And I lost my Skull Crushers without blocking with it. So that sucked. And she told me, do not make me roll. Please do not make me roll. But I guess that, misplay there. Shouldn't have rolled the die. So that sucked. And then my other loss was, I don't quite remember. It's been a long 2 weeks, but my other loss was probably like a legitimate loss I just took somewhere. Not quite sure. But anyway, that list felt really good. 5-2. 5-2 felt great each day with Leviah. Like I said, like X2 record feels really good because you lose like a game to variance. You lose a game just to like a misplay or a bad matchup. That's fine. Now, if you're playing like perfectly, you would hope that you can go X1, but I've never said I'm a perfect player. So I was very happy with X2. At the PTI event, I thought I'd be top 8 at X2, but unfortunately I bubbled out at 11th. So then that led to me rushing to actually stream top 8 because I thought I'd be playing in it. But I streamed, and that actually had a great reception. So I am glad that worked out in the end. But the other thing is that, it led to a CC list I felt pretty good for Worlds. Like I was very happy with that performance because, if you whittle that down a bit, I thought, okay, this is 4-1. Like out of 5 rounds in CC, I can easily go 4-1 with this list. I like it a lot. So I thought I was pretty locked at that point. So we fast forward a bit, I spend my days with my cousin, whatever. I get to the venue at Worlds, and the first day I'm there, it's just testing with the test house. It's going out to dinner with Fluke at this amazing Brazilian steakhouse, all the good stuff. Just a great first day. I feel amazing about Worlds, even without a ton of prep. I had decks I liked. I had the right mindset for it. I'm going in thinking, look, it's a show of face. I'm not here to like super try hard, but I also think I'm in the best spot to perform with Leviah that I have been in a while. So I feel good. That first night, feel great. But the second night was Thursday night when they do the whole big like party for everyone at Worlds. And I show up to that and get to, hang out with everybody, talk with everyone, drink a lot with everyone. And this was kind of the first mistake because everyone was given 2 drink tickets. And I didn't really even want to use those 2 drink tickets, but this bar was kind of gamer themed, and the drinks were delicious. They know we like them fruity. They know we do. And so the drinks were really, really good. And after I drank 2, I somehow kept getting handed more drink tickets because, I don't know, people know me. And so if they had an extra drink ticket, they're like, do you want it? I just kept saying yes. So I think we were like maybe 7 drinks in, which was a lot. The night before Worlds, to be fair. And I get into talking with some of the game developers, talk to Jason Chung. Jason Chung, my coworker at the office, actually. And he's like the Leviah tester, right? He's the Leviah guy. And we have a long talk about Leviah, like maybe like a 40-minute chat about Leviah. And while I personally don't agree with like most everything he said, it got to me in a way that I just kind of wanted to try, right? So his whole philosophy on Leviah is very different. He thinks about Leviah as a hero that has the highest ceiling in the game to abuse scabs, which is, I mean, it's true. Like, Rhinar can't play from Banished. So if you're rolling scabs, it's like probably just because you can get like a romping club swing out of it, whatever. But Levia can be built in a way to just, oh, I rolled extra action point, my turn's nuts. And while I don't like to play that way, he's not wrong about the math behind it of like, if you roll every turn, the time you get a 6, you're just going to steal the game. If you build your deck to be that way. Not just like, oh, a 6, yeah, I can actually use it. But like build your deck to just always capitalize on the high. Always capitalize on the high. And try to just avoid the low. And we're talking about this, and I just could not be more like revolted by that playstyle. I don't ever want to roll scabs. It's not what I'm ever trying to do with Levia. Like, especially with the list I've been playing, you pretty much never roll scabs. You roll scabs maybe to get around something like hypothermia, but you don't roll scabs as part of the game plan, because you can just so easily break damage thresholds by just like finding double howl, just, playing your normal small hands, block a lot. But Jason was quite literally saying, keep your hands, always try to capitalize, always try to capitalize. And while the math might work out for that playstyle, I think what doesn't line up, right, is that in a real game, yes, the math might say you are, you're only at like 16% to whiff or like whatever with a 1. So go ahead and try. Like, go ahead. That's low odds. Math says you should be fine. The issue is you don't ever want to play into that percentage at a tournament where a loss means you're out. Like, a 1 doesn't just mean, oh, I lost the game. At these events, a 1 means you are out. Like, you just don't win that game, your record's not good enough, you are out of the event. So that's like the difference in how he thinks about Levia versus like how I'm thinking about Levia. Because I'm playing Levia to, hopefully do well, hopefully win. And he's playing Levia to like play her, I guess, mathematically correctly and just abuse her mechanics, blah, blah, blah. And what's funny, even more funny about this, is I was talking to some of the other developers that night, like Jacob Pearson, or like Chris, and I think it was, maybe it was Jacob who told me, or maybe, no, I think it was Kieran who told me that they actually track, like on a whiteboard in the LSS office, they track how many times Jason's Scabskins rolls net him bonus action points. They track it, like as a team, just because they also question how he plays with it. And apparently his hit rate is like 57% over like the thousands of times that he's rolled it, right? And that is not, that's, first of all, that is, a bit skewed. Like, it shouldn't be 57%. Like, it should be 50%. So he's got I guess maybe a bit of a bias because his test results actually are higher on the hit rate than anything else. But like I said, he's not wrong in like a vacuum of how you want to play Levia, but his mindset was wrong for me to adopt going into Worlds, because the one game you lose because you're just like throwing scabs all the time means you're out of the event for the most part. So unfortunately though, my sane brain wasn't working. My sane brain was not there. I was 7 drinks in. I'm curious how he decides blocking with that strategy. Oh, so here, I'll show you. I've got his list, or at least close to it. He was showing me how he plays Levia specifically. For like the dev challenge. Maybe the list is like actually posted. But what he showed me looks something like this. So for the most part, equipment is just standard, whatever. But what he's doing with his deck build is actually, first of all, he never plays for Howl Loop. He told me Howl Loop is bad. You can get better rate without it, which he's not wrong, but the better rate comes from action points, which is not what I'm doing, right? So what he does with his build is he jams in draw effects, like Tome of Fyendal, Tome of Torment, right? I'm not exactly sure if it was 3 tomes still. I didn't like copy it card for card, and I don't quite remember. I was a little sloshed. But it looks something like this. It was definitely 3 Tome of Fyendal. And the whole idea was, you're rolling scabs every turn, and you're not necessarily keeping cards in hand to maximize on scabs hitting, but when scabs hits, now you can use your draw effects to get new information with the new cards, and then make your decisions proceedingly. So it's different, but it is still like a scabs playstyle. Like, I don't enjoy that. I feel like it's too many steps of risk because you are making hedge decisions on your blocks a little bit already around like what you hit on scabs. On top of hitting scabs converts into random draws from tomes. So it's like, it's not for me. It's not for me. I really wanted him to do well with this strategy. He was very hyped about like winning the dev challenge with it, but unfortunately, spoiler alert, he did lose in the first round against Hayden Dale. So that's not to say the deck like doesn't work, but and I didn't actually watch it to know like if it was just a bunch of ones or like what went wrong. But there you go. That's kind of the dev mindset about Leviah, right? And on top of that, there's some other weird things about Leviah that came up. Like I asked them in the Q&A panel. Were they aware behind the scenes of Leviah being underpowered? Like, do they consider her underpowered in testing? And they basically said two things that were very surprising to me. Number one, they said they wish they could unprint Swing Big. They said Swing Big was so above curve, they wish they could unprint it. That was strange. Number two, they said that Leviah has the most degenerate mechanic in the game that they need to be very careful about, which is replayable recursion, which is true. That is degenerate. Like, Howl from Beyond Loop is nuts. Howl from Beyond Loop just says, you can't stop me from dealing like 12 a turn, and I just will never take Blood Debt anymore because I control my graveyard. Like, that's pretty nuts. But what's crazy when they say that is that's not what they're playing. Like, Jason isn't playing the Howl Loop Leviah. He's playing, like, recursion draw effect Scabby's Leviah. Like, I don't know. Like, I would make more sense to me if they said she was degenerate because they're like, oh, you can just set up double Howl, like, no control deck will ever win, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what they're actually playing, so I don't know. It's, maybe they're talking about the future, like the future set that's going to have Leviah support, which I can also talk to you about in a bit. But, anyway, yeah, it was just very surprising. There's a lot of things said about Leviah that were just kind of head scratchers. Now, the next thing that was said about Leviah, by the way, is that the best card for Leviah in Dynasty is Skullcrack. Like, quite literally, just add Skullcrack to your normal Leviah list, and the list should be insane, is what Jason was talking about. Just because, the draw discard effects, you don't have to jam that many of them into Leviah. Normally, you're looking at, like, maybe Shadow Blasphette, maybe, like, a Wild Ride. Then, of course, Blood Rush Bellow. But the thing about adding Skullcrack to the list is, next to Blood Rush Bellow, it's just another saving grace in your resource curve. And if you can just always squeeze out, like, Claw Attack, then you'll be fine. Like, Claw Attack is obviously ideal, but you can play Blood Rush, brick into all reds, and just attack. And that sucks. So, if you can at least get +4 from your Blood Rush every time, that's above rate, that's good. That pushes Leviah's damage, and Skullcrack just like helps you get there, because now even if you draw double red, you are guaranteed to be able to play Claw Attack, because right, you'll start with blue, you'll have 3 floating, you'll draw 2 cards, you can claw, and then with those next 2 cards you'll have 1 resource. You'd hope it's a 2 cost or whatever, so you pitch and play whatever. That's the idea. Is that you should be able to just get more consistent Blood Rushes through, and that's all she needs to be really good. Now that's not very exciting. It's not like a huge like flavor win or anything, but it's a bit of a consistency boost. It blocks 3. That's cool. So anyway, this conversation aside with Jason, I really appreciated the time. It was very obvious that we were both very passionate about Leviah. Talk a lot. But unfortunately, what happened was 7 drinks in, I was very malleable. I was ready to just say, all right, give me the list and I'll win Worlds. That's where I was at. It's not a good headspace. So I listened to him maybe a bit too much, like try to change my philosophy a bit too much about how to play Leviah. And so when I got back home, I had 20 minutes to lock my deck list. This is the other problem, right? Like, I was just out so late. I mean, I didn't want to leave. Everyone was so friendly. I was out until like 11:40 or something, and deck lists were locked at midnight. So there I was, wasted, needing to lock a list for CC, for Blitz, and like head spinning. I've got Jason's like new Leviah knowledge like pounding its way through my head. And I'm like super impressionable. So I just like show up at the house, and Yanji tells me that, he's actually been testing Leviah as well for Blitz. And I'm like, all right, show me the list. We look at it. I make some tweaks because it's actually very close to what I was playing anyway. He just added epots. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll believe in your epot strat. Fuck it. We're going to lock that for Blitz. Zero testing. I had a Blitz list I kind of liked, but to be fair, like I didn't have many games on it anyway. So I was happy to just look at what he was doing. Switched around maybe like 6 cards. But the core is like very, very much just like the Levi Blitz deck that we've all been playing. And just ran with that. But then for CC, I thought about it. Like, man, I've got this list from Denver that I really like. Or we can just throw it out the window and just try to play more into what Jason was telling me. And there was the better choice, there was the correct choice, and then there was the wrong choice. And I went with the wrong choice. And I locked a just awful Levi deck for Worlds. Like, it was just not good. And nothing against Jason. It actually wasn't even so much like his build. Because I actually hadn't seen his build yet. He showed me that later. It was just from what we were talking about, his like scab strat. I just leaned like a bit too heavily into using it. Like, you know what? Mindset wise, we're just going to roll scabs every turn. That's what we're going to do. And so I made like small changes to the list that I did not enjoy because I'd already had it in a spot I really liked at Denver. Changed maybe like 5 cards or something. But it was more of the mentality shift of like, screw it. You know what? Like, we're going to let Worlds just be a dice roll. Like, we're going to just roll scabs every turn and just see what happens. And yeah, that was obviously just not correct. But I went to bed with that mindset. Woke up, felt awful, felt a little hungover, not excited anymore, just questioning everything. But we show up at Worlds, and I sit in a draft pod with actually 2 people who would eventually be in top 8, Rob Catton and Fuad Omar. I didn't recognize anyone in that pod, honestly. But I sit down in the draft pod, and we're talking, and I'm just feel miserable. Like, the day just already feels so off. But I'm talking to the person across from me who's a fan of the League of Leviathan, and we're talking probably a bit too much about draft and like Worlds and all that. And he goes, "Oh, I love drafting Dromai," and I said, "Dude, I'm gonna force Dromai." Like, I'm just telling you right now, I'm gonna force Dromai. And then like the draft begins. So I feel like maybe I scared him out of Dromai, which doesn't actually, he could have screwed me because he was right across from me. So, I'm getting past 2 packs. 2 packs are being passed into me from him. So if he wanted to start like scalping Dromai stuff, like he had priority over me. But I'd already told him, like, look, like I'm not in it right now. We're just gonna play Dromai. It's gonna be what it is. So I just forced Dromai. It actually ends up being a good call anyway. To be fair, I didn't like actually force Dromai. I kept open for like maybe the first 3 picks or so. But that was definitely where I was leading. So as soon as Dromai seemed even a little bit open, I just hard went for it. And my deck was pretty good. It was like an A- Dromai deck. I think there were only 2 Dromais at the table, so that also felt pretty good. But I think there was only 1 Icelander and the rest Fi. So that was pretty scary. A lot of Fis, right? Didn't know how I'd do against them. My deck was kind of in that middle range that I don't enjoy, where it's not so much an Ashwing deck. It's not so much like a Dragons deck. It's just somewhere in the middle. And I prefer to go heavy one way or the other because I just want a 2-1. I don't really care about 3-0 draft. I want a 2-1. So if you go like Ashwings, you'll beat the Mirror, you'll beat Icelander. If you go for just like big dragons, 0 for 4s, 2 for 8s, you'll beat Fi. But my deck was somewhere in the middle, so I didn't feel great about it. But round 1, I play against Fi, and I do win. Then round 2, I play against a Dromai, and I do win. And then round 3, I play against another Fi, and it's Rob Catton, who actually made top 8. And he wins the die roll, like goes second, and his turn is like 20 damage, and it was just over. I'm like, oh, well, that's fine. Like, honestly, it's fine. Didn't expect to go 3-0. We're 2-1. This is cool. So, started out actually better than I was hoping for. Just stuck to my guns with Dromai. But then moved into the CC rounds, and I pick up my Levi deck. And while actually card for card, it's not like trash. It's just not what I liked. It's not what I had been playing. So, I just felt defeated from the get-go. I'm like, oh my, like, I just can't win with this. This is not... Like, I'm already going to be mad at myself every time I see, like, that 3rd copy of Art of War. I'm going to be mad at myself, like, every time I roll scabs. Like, it's just not right. And unfortunately, that's pretty much just this awful mindset that got stuck with me the entire CC rounds. I played round 1 against Dash, and I did win. But it was a very tight game. The deck didn't feel great. And then next round, I played against Oh, actually, shoot, I had something mapped out for this to make tracking what I'm saying better. Here. Let's move it. Display capture. There we go. Where is it? Where's the window? And where's me? Me is here. Okay, here we go. All right, yeah, I tried to do this actually to make just chatting easier to track. So hopefully that works. All right, so draft day 1, what happened? We won round 1. It was Dromai. All right, so how do I want to put this? I was playing Dromai. They were playing Phi. Where's Phi? Phi? Here, we'll just do Dromai win. That's maybe the easier way to track it. Dromai win. And I'm the Dromai, just for clarity's sake, right? So we've got Dromai win again, and this is versus another Dromai. Then we've got Dromai versus Phi, and it is a Phi win. So there we go. That's my draft. Hopefully that follows. Then we've got CC, and I'm on Levia. And my first round was against a Dash. Hopefully y'all can see this, yes. Dash, and I do win. And then my next round is versus a Bravo. Where's Bravo? I'm against a Bravo, and this guy was very friendly. I enjoyed our game, but I had a just awful variance game against him, where I'm actually like winning the game. He doesn't have a great game plan into Levia. Like, it's pretty obvious he hasn't played the matchup much. And so I actually like start going for an early Blood Debt ramp because he's very, very keen to just like block. Like, he's really not putting on a lot of pressure. Like, he'd even blocked with some really good attacks early, which is not actually right. So, I put the gas pedal on quite a bit. I'm like, okay, it's good. Like, this guy is not playing it extremely well. Maybe we can win. And so I make some kind of probably poor decisions to begin with. Like, he Terra Sunders, and I go ahead and like block with the card double equip when I probably could have just eaten it. So, maybe like a shaky decision from my end already, early game as well. But what really throws the game is a Shadow of Blasphemfet turn, where it's my only play to turn off Blood Debt is just like Shadow with a pitch card and just hope to discard a 6 and turn off Blood Debt. Like, that's all I can do with my hand. So I go for it, and I draw discard a Blood Rush. And not only does that mean like a huge power card is gone, but it also meant I took like 4 Blood Debt. It also meant that my graveyard has another miss in it that I can't control, right? So that was already horrible. And he eats it and just like has another pretty good turn into me. And it's my fault, right? Like, the pivot just like didn't happen. Like, the things just started to fall apart. He, even though he mentally was on the back foot. Wait, oops, I should put the loss as well. Loss. Or here, I'll just track me. If the opponent wins, just assume. But he sees me take Blood Debt, and his mindset switches. He's like, okay. I see Levia stumble, now I'll play aggressive. And I hate when they do that. They're right to do that, but it also really means you have like zero breathing room, because one misplay just makes your opponent realize, oh, Levia sucks. That's right, I can punish her. So then his next turn is like, once again, some like pretty decent turn. My turn is not great. I think I had like a Deadwood or something like stuck in Arsenal early from like some early crown I'd also had to use because of a CNC turn. There was something funky in Arsenal. I forget. Maybe it was like a Beast Within or like a Deadwood, something bad. But I had like an Art of War turn to just say whatever, like, we're clearing this out with my go again. I think it was a Deadwood, yeah. So then I have like a, decent turn back into him, but I definitely had to eat some damage to get it off. Play out like a Endless Maw into go again. My go again's like a Deadwood, maybe, whatever it is. And the Deadwood draws and discards a Doomsday. And it's like, oh my god. Like, are you serious? Like, this is 2 cards now that are like insanely good in this matchup. and they just disappeared. And that's like just randomly off the top. So I lost a Blood Rush. I lost a Doomsday. I didn't take Blood Debt that turn. But once again, my graveyard was like full of a miss. It's got another miss in it that I just can't control because it was draw, discard randomly. And then the game keeps going on. I'm mental boomed at this point. And eventually I whiff on Blood Debt and lose. So yeah, it was just like awful. Like the game was just like not very good. Not very fun. But you know, it is what it is. I do think that there was like a Terrace Underturn early. That was a bit of a misplay from me. But you know, also, you know, a couple things, like 3 things in a row happened that were just so bad. So I did then lose. And then my next round was against, I believe, maybe an Oldhim. I don't exactly remember like when these matchups were, but I know they did happen. And this game I did win. I don't remember much about it. I'm pretty sure it was just kind of a absolute stomp. And then we had Levia versus Rhinar. And this was actually pretty interesting because this was the Rhinar who won the calling. So I got to play against him. And unfortunately, the game didn't end up being that interesting. Like at first, it was very fun. I was eagerly ahead. I was just trading better than he was. But I kind of teetered out. I didn't get a lot of damage like after kind of an early start with like a singular Blood Rush. And then, of course, Rhinar comes in a little strange with like his Intimidates. Plus, his list was running Pummel. And so there were a couple turns where I did like hedge on a Pummel block that definitely slowed me down. But anyway, that is to say, eventually he just drew into his Blood Rushes. Like the early game went my way, but then mid game we were pretty even on like in terms of trade rate. And then his late game just like blew up with double Blood Rush and I just didn't have anything. So that was a little unfortunate because that game was like very, very winnable. Like things were going well for so long until like the deck just stopped drawing damage. And that really sucked. Like, you know, when a Levi deck just trades back like 6 damage, you're just a worse Rhinar, right? Like that's just, it's not great because they're doing that too, but they don't worry about Blood Debt. So that was a loss. And then the last round was... Oh, actually, I'm remembering this incorrectly. I lost to that Oldhim. I remember this now. I lost to that Oldhim. I don't remember the specifics of that game. I'm sorry. Oh, no, wait. It wasn't even Oldhim. Hold on. I'm actually so bad at remembering. It wasn't Oldhim. It was Icelander, and I did win. I remember this. He was a Spanish guy. And I decked him out. Legitimately 0 cards in deck. He didn't know how to play against Levia super well. But I had so much damage on him, that he thought, okay, like there's no way I pivot again by eating like a hand's worth of damage. So I'm just going to try to deck him out. And so I just switched to like pure pitch stack mode and never whiffed Blood Debt and just won the game with Icelander literally at 0 cards in deck. It was kind of weird, but it is what it is. All right. I remember. So that was a win. But then my last round was against Phi. And this dude had just the most insane draws you've ever seen. Like it's just Phi being Phi. Not close. So that was my... Wait, oops, loss. It was a loss. What am I saying? It was a loss. All right. So this was my day 1, right? My day 1 was 2-1 in draft, which I felt really good about. But then my day 1 CC was a win that I hated, a loss that was just absolute BS, a win against someone who just didn't know the game, a loss against my deck just not drawing damage, and then a loss to a bad matchup. So it was just rough. Like day 1 just kind of sucked. So I was not happy. Like I'm 4-4. I'm out of top 8. I don't feel good about the deck at all. Like even if I was going to do better, like I just don't think this was the right deck for top 8, like at all. So, you know, I'm questioning, like, do I drop? But if I drop, I'll play the calling, and I don't even really want to play the calling because my CC deck is just like not good. And yeah, I could change it, but like I already kind of have mentally given up, like blah, blah, blah. It was just, I was a mess. And so what do you do when you're a mess? You go out drinking again, right? And this was a nuts night because I went out with Federico Musetti, the artist who has done so much for the game. You probably know him from, what's his most famous? Like Pulverize and Mangle. Like he's that dude. He did Library of Solana. He did all that stuff. So I went out drinking with him. It was a whole like team dinner with some friends, with like the Tavern Brawlers. We went out to a Korean barbecue and drank like 10 bottles of soju. It was insane. It was so much fun. First of all, like I wouldn't trade that night for anything, but it was so much fun. Got way too drunk. We ended up then going to a party after that. Party lasted till about like 2 a.m. And by that time, I just like didn't even want to go home. I was so embarrassed. Like my test house is a bunch, very good players like Dan Rakowski, Yuanji, Brody. Like my test house is like these sweaty dudes, but it's warranted. They're good at the game. And here I am just like fucking like drunk off my ass, second night in a row, Worlds Day 2. Like it's just a mess. So I don't even go home. Like a little too embarrassed to go home. I just crash at a friend's place. And I wake up once again, like hungover, like no change of clothes, just like kind of gross, grungy. And I just feel awful. I'm like, man, I wasted this invite. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing with this invite, this world championship that I'm just like throwing away? God, it was a mess. But at least like the night was worth it. Like at least the night was really fun. Hanging out with Federico. I hung out with Jacob Pearson. Oh, actually, there's some news that came up. I was at the party. There was like Carolina, the cosplayer who did like Exude Confidence, who won this time with Chain. Federico, Kiki, Lazy Dog, Frank from Twitter, Mara, Blackwing Studio, Jacob Pearson, the game developer. So they're all there, right? And I get to talking with Jacob, and I hope this isn't like super confidential because I am just going to spill it to the entire YouTube. But basically, what he explained was really interesting. I'm obviously like pressing about, questions about Levia, like, oh, this was also the night that we found out that the that the Marvel in the set was a CNC, not a Shadow Legendary, or not a Shadow Fabled, because a couple days before, I'd heard a rumor from someone who had heard from an LSS person that maybe the Fabled was a Shadow Landmark. Maybe. And unfortunately, we found out that night that it wasn't true. It was just a Marvel CNC. So I was definitely a little upset. And I'm pressing Jacob about it. I'm like, look, so what goes into this? The fact that like a whole set cycle has come out now, like a whole chance, like 2 chances now, really, with supplementals for Levia to get support, and she hasn't gotten any direct support. Like, what's up with that? Like, what's the decision there? And he said that, look, like Levia is the kind of hero that they want to give like another actual set of cards, like not just 1 or 2, but like another like 8, 10, 12, 14, like whatever. They want to give her like a proper set of cards. And the reality is that when they were filling out the set list for a set like Dynasty, she is on that list. Like she's there with some of their flex slots. Like, will she get these slots? Will she not? But when they choose who gets the slots, it actually comes down to data, like what's being played, right? And the reality is, Levia does not get played that much. She does not get played that much. And so they filled slots with heroes that had players that wanted more support, which is honestly goddamn hard to believe. I don't know how there's more Bolton players than Levia players, but it is what it is. And so she just ended up not getting the slots that she needed for this set because she needed so many. She didn't just need the 1 card. They wanted to give her more cards. So there just wasn't enough room. She didn't get the slot. And that's pretty terrifying because it's almost like a chicken and the egg type of situation there. Like, if you won't give Levia the cards, you won't give her priority on these cards because they don't have players. She doesn't have players. How are you going to get players for Levia? Because you're not giving her support. And it's like, it's so strange. And he said, look, don't worry too much about it. It's not like she's forgotten. She just needs her own slot. Like, she needs a dedicated set. And the dedicated set will come sometime next year. It will be like a Shadow Light set with the Prism reprint, with the Chain reprint that James White already talked about in the Flukenbox interview. That same set will be a very heavily slanted set for Levia. He said. And he said that in internal testing, she's very good. Like, even he said she's very good. Not just Jason Chung version of good, which is its own thing. But, there's a little bit of hope. The unfortunate news is, like, it's just going to take forever. Like, that's just going to take a while for us to get those cards because she's not going to get slotted for supplementals anytime soon. unless somehow everyone starts playing her in Dynasty, which I think at this point it's also too late. Like the data they're working on in terms of giving a supplemental hero cards is old, right? Like they're making decisions like months and months and months, like a year plus ago. So it's not like changing that now will affect the next supplemental. That's just not how it works. So unfortunately, we're just like locked in how it is. It's just what it is. But anyway, so that was like mental boom number like 3 or 4 for the weekend, right? I'm just like, I'm almost in tears. That was maybe like another reason I didn't go home that night and just crash at a friend's. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, you know, I'm not only is like Leviah just like not getting support, but like, you know, what's going to happen to me? Like, can I really play Leviah for like 10 months without support cards? Like, can I do this to myself? Anyway, so that all fed into this, just another awful night of great night, but of awful decisions, drinking way too much, hanging out, and just having fun. So then we end up in draft day 2. I'm guessing that's the talent supplemental set coming out next year. I don't really know more details than that. It might be supplemental. It might be like a dedicated like return to Solana Demonastery, like who knows? But there you go. That's what I heard. So then we hit draft day 2, and I feel so awful, like so awful. This is like the 3rd night in a row of having drinks. I didn't even sleep in my own bed. I didn't get to change my clothes. I didn't get to take a shower. I just feel awful. We show up again, and I also know I'm not in the running for top 8 anymore. I also have like already mentally defeated myself, and I'm like, nah, I'm not even going to make like top 64. Like I'm just out, right? Just out. So we sit down, and once again, I just forced Dromai. And the thing about this pod was that it was very obvious that Dromai was being overdrafted, but I'm actually very comfortable playing Dromai when she's overdrafted because of what I mentioned earlier. Like, I don't actually build Dromai to go 3-0. I know that that's probably just bad. Like, you know, you want to give yourself the shot at going 3-0, but that's not how I build her. I will build to either beat Dromai Icelander or beat Fi. And so, since I was going Dromai from just pack 1, I just like her a lot. What I started noticing as packs were going around was, wow, there's probably like 3 or 4 Dromais on this table. This is awful for them. I'll be fine. So I started building my deck to be very Ashwing centric, which will beat the mirror. And so sure enough, my round 1, I beat a Dromai. So that's already going well. And then my round 2, I play against a Icelander. Oops, that's adult Icelander. That's also adult Icelander. Where are you, young Icelander? There you are. I play against an Icelander, and unfortunately, kind of like a rough situation came up where he drew at the end of my turn instead of his. And so the judge ruled that I could like look at his hand and, you know, choose what card went back to the bottom, whatever. And he did have a blue singed, and so of course, like I sent that crap to the bottom. But regardless, I think I was going to win that game no matter what. I had really set up myself in a good spot where, yes, I didn't have a Nate Arcane Barrier, but I had an Uvia that was just like chewing through, like I had like 10 Ash or something going. So that was that. Like I felt in control of that game. Definitely him drawing helped me win because it saved some Ash Wings, but he was also down to like, I don't know, maybe like 4 cards in deck that really dealt more than 3 damage anyway. So I felt great. And we did win that game. And then my round 3, I played against Fi. And this was actually being piloted by Kugane Gaming. And we drew up our first hands, and then I conceded. He didn't even attack. I did not build this deck to beat Fi. It definitely could not beat Fi. And my first hand was actually like sand cover, Phoenix Flame, or something awful. So nope, I just scooped. And then I went to go talk to Wisnu Tan, and so that was really fun. Hold on, let me catch up on chat. What are people saying? A playtesting guy smokes crack and believe in scabskins. No Levi for months. Absolute pain. He does not smoke crack. Jason is a very, very good player, but he's a very like math-centric player. But as I explained already, like just doing the math does not make up for the risk of like what a game loss gets you in a tournament. Like a game loss just gets you out of the tournament from rolling a 1, right? So he'll take that risk because for him it's a playtest game. Like he's just always going to make the best decision. but in reality, you can't make the mathematically best decision, like if there is a chance to just be out of the event, right? That's the difference between like how Jason thinks about Levia and how you actually have to play Levia. Whatever. Anyway, so that's the draft. I go 2-1 again, so I'm pretty happy about it. And I went off and just like got to stand in line, talk to Wiz Nutan for like, a good 30 minutes. It was fun. Then we get into Blitz, and my Levia Blitz deck was something that I've been having like recent success with. And then with like some of the fine tuning that, Yuanji had suggested, namely just Energy Potion. I was excited to see like, could I actually do well or what? And I did go 4-1. Do I even remember my matchups though? I think my first round was maybe a Prism. This sounds wrong. I feel like my first round was a Prism. I definitely played against 3 Prisms. So yeah, it was a Prism. I'm pretty sure I won. Well, I know I won. I'm pretty sure it was a Prism. And then my round 2 was Dorinthia. Oh, that's right. And it was actually against Josh Lau. And the unfortunate part about this game was I was absolutely winning. He was even terrified of Levia because he had just lost on stream to a Levia. So he is terrified. We go into this, and sure enough, I'm very ahead on the game, doing fantastic. He gets his last turn off, which is like an Iron Song Determination turn, whatever it is. And I unfortunately had 3 non-blocks in my hand, and I just died. If I had even one more block in my hand, I win. Because he was like down to like 1 life or whatever it was. Like it was his last ability to ever throw a turn back into me. And he goes like, Iron Song Determination into like Dawn Blade, break Refraction Bolters into Hit and Run, Dawn Blade into like, Twinning Blade for a 3rd swing. And unfortunately, I died by like 1 HP because I could only block with 1 card. If I had even 1 more card that blocked, yeah, sure, he gets a counter, whatever, but I just don't lose. So that was unfortunate. That's your variance loss with Levia. It's fine. I also could have won if I just drew Reckless, but it just didn't happen, which is still fine. And then my round 3 was against a old him, I'm pretty sure. No, I think it was against a Bravo. Yeah, that's right. My round 3 was then against a Bravo. And that was a pretty handy win. And then I played against 2 Prism. What was this one? This one was an old him. Where's old him? There he is. Played against an old him. This was actually Natalia from Team Poland. She's an amazing player. She actually did everything right. I was very impressed. This game, she read Levia like a book, played it absolutely perfectly, but the reality was I just kind of had a better deck in the end. So that was a win. And then I played against a Prism again, and that was a win. So all of a sudden, my day 2 starts to look really good. Like, after an awful just mental boom night before, and just being kind of grungy, hungover, and all this, I end up going 6-2 on the day. I end up going 6-2. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, wait a second. I think I'm live for top 64. Like, look at all these blues. Look at all the wins here. This is crazy. Because people have been saying, like, oh, so many people dropped that all 10 6s will make it. So I feel pretty good because all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to walk away with $1,500 in my pocket. I'm going to, actually have made some money off this weekend, even though I just, like, really didn't try at all. But unfortunately, I bubbled at 70th because these losses matter more. You know how everyone is complaining about Blitz? Like, oh, Blitz is going to tank people's records, blah, blah. No. Blitz, these are your weakest tiebreakers. Or rather, your strongest tiebreakers is if you lose here. If you lose here, these are your weakest tiebreakers. So, no, I bubbled at 70th. I bubbled. So I didn't make any money. I missed out on $1,500 because of where my losses were. I had the right record for it, but I missed out on $1,500. That's crazy. Like, holy shit. But to be fair, I have to be honest with myself about this. I do not actually deserve that money. I really don't. I treated this event like an absolute joke, even though it's the World Championship. Like, I literally, this event was like just for fun. Like, literally just for fun. My CC Levi deck was the worst I've ever played. My Blitz deck was insane.
I forced Dromai, which means I'm bad at draft, but like whatever, I like playing Dromai. So yeah, it's just like, I didn't deserve the money. It's true, I didn't, but I also got very hopeful because my day 2 was so good. So we go into the Battle Hardened then, and the Battle Hardened at this point I feel insanely good about. Oh, actually, hold up a second. Send to back. Oh no. So then, yeah, that's day 2, right? So then that night, once again, we go out. It's not a heavy drinking night. It's just hanging out with friends. Because at this point, I realized, hold up a second, I actually had a very good record in Blitz. Maybe I can actually buckle down, take a night seriously, and top 8 the Battle Hardened. Like, let's just do it. Let's stop just having fun. So I had like one try hard night where I went ahead. Muzetti dinner stories. You missed it, Hamal. I told them Muzetti dinner story right here. Right here. You did miss it, unfortunately. But then at the end of day 2 here, I really did want to try to just, all right, let's buckle down. Let's actually do out this Battle Hardened. So I had a nice, like, just simple dinner. Went home, and it was actually really cool being able to go home and like watch Brody and Dan and Yuanji and all them test. Because yeah, I was hanging out with them, but like not to the same competitive capacity that they were. Because Dan at this point had made top 8 at Worlds, and so it was just fun to hang around and like see what pro players do when they're trying to prep for like a World's top 8. And it was very enlightening. Like really, it was a lot of fun to watch because, it's, that shit is immensely stressful. Like you're on the line to win like 100 grand, right? And so like, what does the night before look like? And the reality is the night before looks like, a huge brief. Like the LSS gives them like a whole packet of every single deck list. And then they scramble to build every single deck, and then you play your side of the bracket, enough games as you want. But the reality is, what you're looking for are like pressure points to abuse each matchup, where it's not so much like, oh, what's the matchup? What do I do against Icelander? At this point, they know that. Like, anyone who's World's top 8, they know that. What they're looking for is this list. What's the clunkiest hand it can draw? Like this list. What's their highest priority arsenal? Like this list, how do they respond if I go 6 wide on a combat chain? Like, what can they afford to block with? Like, it's the very minutia of making the matchup favored with specific knowledge of the list. It was very cool to watch because they really grinded through. Like, I thought Dan was going to win the whole event after watching them practice like that. Because they really did a great job. Yeah, like, what's their sideboard into me? Exactly, Gardar. So, yeah, it was just really cool. Really cool to hang around and watch that. But then we go to bed, we wake up, we show up at the Battle Hardened, and the Battle Hardened is 9 rounds because there were almost like 300 people, which is just insane, by the way. Like that is just insane. Yeah, let's move this over here. Almost 300 people for a Battle Hardened that only prizes out to top 8, right? And what that basically means is you need to go either XO, X1, or you need your most recent loss to be like the last round, and you'll maybe make top 8. So I knew for sure that this was just going to be a tough showing. Yeah, Dan being a higher seed than Rob is what won in the Fine Mirror. Yep. Exactly. And like they ironed all that out. But to be fair, they played that Fine Mirror and they decided that Rob's list was actually not very good. They were into Fi rather. They really felt like heavily favored because of Rob's inclusion of stuff like Ancestral. Fi is never going to like get blown out by an Ancestral block because they're just not going to block anyway. So they felt good. All the testing behind the scenes on that, they were really happy with. But anyway, so then we go into the Battle Hardened, and of course I'm playing Leviah again. I actually didn't change the list from the Blitz run. I wanted to just give it another shot, but to be fair, it really should have been different. The double E-Pot was very, very bad. But good God, it was 9 rounds. What do I remember from those rounds? Let's see. I played against a Prism at some point, and that was a win. I think that was round 1. I played against... Oh my god, actually, you know what might be happening? I think I'm confusing the Blitz Day 2 and the Battle Hardened. I think I played against the Bravo at the Battle Hardened. I'm not entirely sure anymore. But what were my losses? Let's just remember my losses. My losses at the Battle Hardened were to... I lost to an Oldhim and a Dorinthia. I beat everything else. So I went 7-2 in the Battle Hardened. Oops, loss. I went 7-2 in the Battle Hardened. I honestly don't remember what I beat. Some of the games were really short. But what happened in these two losses against the Oldhim, they just kind of had that crazy variance hand of just drawing the nuts, and you're just going to lose, and it's fine. Like, you know, that kind of loss is not something you really control in Blitz. But basically, their turn 1, they naturally fused an Oakenold, and I just ate a bunch of damage and had no return. And then their turn 2 was stick channel into Icy Hammer. And then my turn was, I don't know, like throw 6. It was not good. And then their turn was Oakenold fused Pummel. So I got to play one turn. And in that one turn, I dealt 6 damage. And I lost because I didn't get to play the game on any other turn. So that was just the loss. Like, it's whatever. They just had the nuts. You don't really complain about it because it is what it is. But then the Dorinthia game was some BS because this game I was not like winning, but they were in the Reckless lock where they will lose as soon as I draw Reckless. The one thing that I was really terrified of in this matchup was I didn't actually get time to play out the second energy potion. Hey, thank you, Supperworm. I didn't actually have time to play out the second energy potion, so I knew I was about to draw up a hand that was Reckless Epot. Like, I knew that was coming, because that's just how it was pitched, unfortunately. So I made like a desperation play to actually just end the game before drawing that hand and potentially just losing, because I'd be forced to Reckless. And then if I discarded Epot, like the game was just over. So I did go for the more proactive win rather than just hoping that the Reckless would hit. And I rolled Scabs, and I rolled a 1 and Break Gamblers into a 1, and I lost. So that was unfortunate. Because otherwise that game like really was a win. But I made mathematically, hats off to Jason, I made the mathematically better attempt at winning the game, because if I just relied on the Reckless win, then it's a 33% chance to whiff, right? 66% chance to win, because I knew I would have the 1 Epot in there, right? So if I just rolled Gamblers and hit, then I knew I was going to win that turn, because I'd be able to do like, I don't know, Plasma Fet plus Swing Big or whatever it was. Something that like broke the math and made them die anyway. So unfortunately, it is what it is. It was a 1 into a 1. All the other games were wins. The unfortunate part was this loss was like round 2. This loss was like round 6. So my tiebreakers were not that good. And I did bubble out of top 8 again. But 7-2 overall with Levia felt really, really good. I think the list is nuts. And I think I've also decided 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I've also decided that Levia is just a Blitz hero right now. She really is. Like, in CC, your deck is really not concentrated enough to continually actually deal damage. You have very good hands, but your deck's so big that when you have your very piddly hands, your deck sucks, like really sucks. And that's what happened here. And that's what happened here. Like, those losses are just, oh, my hand at maximum could only deal 6 anyway. And then in this case, the dealing 6 even was worse because it was Shadow Blasvet. In this case, the dealing 6 was even worse because, you know, if I'm dealing 6, then I'm just Rhinar with Blood Debt, and that's awful. So in Blitz, what I've started to actually love about Levia is your hands are way more concentrated, and you can actually kind of count your ghost stack like really easily, where ghost stack meaning is actually something that Dark Odious taught me in the Dromai video I did with him. Ghost stack meaning, all right, we're 2 hands in. I've seen 8 cards. I haven't seen a Blood Rush yet. Like, I know that now it's within like 3 hands of each other, like the next Blood Rushes or whatever. Or like, okay, we're 4 hands in. I haven't seen an Endless Maw yet. I know I'm going to have an Endless Maw turn coming up. So that's going to be a strong pivot. Like, within maybe my next hand here, where I can 2-card trade a 9 and buy an arsenal. So I shouldn't actually be so stressed about setting arsenal on a bad hand because I know my endless maw is coming up and I'll be able to set arsenal. Like, you actually get more knowledge about how to preemptively plan your trade cycle in Blitz, because Leviah actually doesn't really end the game super quickly in Blitz. You have all this like crazy damage, but then you kind of get locked with your opponent in like this must interact zone where your damage is so big that it says on hit die. So they do need to block, but you actually like when you block because your small hands are better than their small hands. But that doesn't mean you actually end the game quickly. You kind of just burn them through, and then set up a win. So I actually just really, really like Leviah and Blitz. I've learned to absolutely appreciate the hell out of how she plays, because I think before I was playing Leviah as just like straight high roll, like, you know, let's just make the game end in like 3 turns because fuck it, that's like what every other Blitz deck can do if they draw the nuts. But the reality is that's not why Leviah is good. Leviah is good because she thrives on trading small hands. So yeah, like I think she's actually really interactive, really fun in Blitz. Because you don't just win. Like, it's not like, oh, I drew Blood Rush, you lose. That's like a Rhinar thing. Leviah doesn't do that. You still get to block. You probably only leaked like 6 damage on a Blood Rush turn. But what that does now is makes so that enough life lead was bought that now you're trading in a way that favors you. So anyway, I just really loved it. Like, Leviah was nuts in Blitz for the weekend. And I'll probably put up a deck tech soon of that build and how well it did. It was really just such a good deck. Did that red ghostly help Hamal? Oh, yes. Let me show people. All right, check this out. If you haven't seen it yet. Yes, in Blitz Hamal, it was nuts. In CC, it was awful. But let me get this out. Hamal, let's see. Look at this beautiful card. So, I don't know if any of you remember the fact that these promo ghostly visits exist, or rather that they don't exist. Because no one can get them. But check this out. I was able to get my hands on the only copy, not in the world, but the only like played copy, the only one you'll ever find in someone's deck of this card. Let me find it. Where are you at, Ghostly? Alright, I've lost the Ghostly visit. I'm sorry, Hummel. Let's see. Where is it? Come on. Alright, it's not in my deck box anymore. Please. Come on. Where are you? Oh, here it is. Beautiful. Check this out. Look at this. Extended Art Ghostly. Only one you'll ever find in someone's deck. It's mine. Yeah, pretty damn hot. A shout out to our boy in the chat here, Mal Patel, who hooked me up with this. It is pretty nuts. I mean, like, Ghostly Visit is not so much like a key Leviah card, but I definitely do enjoy playing it, and it's definitely insane in Blitz in particular. So if she's like a Blitz hero, then goddamn, there we go. That's my crowning jewel there. Then check this out as well. This was a artist proof that Wisnu Tan made for me. On the back is like adult Leviah. And I asked him to draw Blasmafet in an action pose. And so he drew Blasmafet eating people, which I just absolutely love. Look at that. It's so good. So anyway, you know, that's like the story of Worlds there. On the last night, it was another very great experience, another amazing dinner, where we went out to this steakhouse, ate some amazing steak, went back out for drinks, got to interact with the drunkest LSS staff you've ever seen. It was awesome. They definitely like let it loose because their weekend was over, you know. Overall, you know, just a great event. Great event. And also really convinced me that I should stop playing Leviah competitively in CC for a good bit. Like, it's nothing against Leviah. Like, I absolutely love this deck. I really think it's the most fun I've ever had in a card game. I love that you can still absolutely punish amazing players just because they disrespect a hero. But the reality is, after talking to LSS, she will not get support for about 10 months. Like, she just won't. She just will not. And so that is super disheartening. Like, that's a bit soul crushing. It's soul crushing because I want to play this hero. I love playing this hero, but they're like in a card game, if you're the deck that just doesn't get support, you're playing against the game developers, you're playing against your opponent, you're playing against like your own variants, like just the world's against you. The world is against you. And so like she'll be a fun deck. But like seeing how well I did at Worlds with putting in like literally zero effort, which is why I say I didn't deserve the money anyway. Like putting in that little amount of effort and still doing this well just shows like where was the weak spot, right? Where's the weak spot? It was CC. Draft? Sure. Maybe I'm not a great drafter, but like, you know, still 2-1 because I know the plan. Like I may not be a great drafter, but like I know my plan and it worked. And then in Blitz, it worked. And my only loss was a variance loss anyway. And truly, I do think Levi is busted in Blitz. But then where was the weak spot? The weak spot was just CC. Like this matchup, unwinnable. Like nothing I could do. This matchup, nothing I could do. It was just the draw. Like, I mean, congrats. My opponent was very good. I love this dude. He won the calling on Reinar. But the reality was like, that was my game to win. I just stopped drawing damage. Just, there's nothing I could do. And then this was just a variance loss. So like, where do you fix the weak point? The weak point is CC Levi. And there's just nothing you can do to fix it. There just isn't. The reality is like, just play a better deck. And I know, yeah, everyone in chat like, oh yeah, you've said this before, whatever. I said it before, but I also didn't want it to be true before. I said it before because I was truly upset with like how much prep I put into Leal and how bad I did. But now I can say it with confidence that like I went into this event with zero prep, and I'm just reminded again of, you know, Levi just being too much of a struggle bus hero in an event that I was so close to making money off of, in an event that I put zero effort into, on top of the conversations with all the game developers that just kind of say, look, Levi just will not be it. Like, she's just not going to be it for a while. You walked away with so much insider info. Yeah, it was, for the weekend itself, like everything other than the Levi games were fantastic. I mean, these Levi games are fine. But yeah, just talking with the devs was incredible. Like I said, I actually now work for LSS. My name is Newsun Zeng. I think it's okay. And I can't blame, I hope you all don't blame me. I hope you don't blame yourself if you also want to take a break from CC Levi. But the reality is like, you know, let's be excited for a bit. Let's be excited to play Dynasty. You know, it's a new set. It's exciting. But you know who it's not exciting for? Levi. But that doesn't mean we have to feel like shit. You know, just play a new deck for a bit. You know, have fun. It's a card game. You know, play Reinar. You know, pour one out for our green brothers. Do what you want. Don't force yourself to just keep playing a hero that will not get support for 10 months. Also, yeah, he actually gifted it to me, Emil. He, at the very end there, you know, John had stolen it. Yeah, exactly. Newsun, man, when you whispered in my ear about that, I was so excited. And then, no, it was an absolute lie. There was no Shadow Fabled. And now we know, like, there just won't be anything for 10 months. Give or take. That's an estimate, by the way. That's not a hard fact. That's an estimate. Dromai doesn't get anything, nor does Phi. I don't think that's true. I think the new Vinserakai card is pretty nuts. Where's my... Let me show... Yeah, so check this out. I really do think this card... Oops, not this one. This one is nuts. Because what you can now set up is Vinserakai as not like a win con, but a huge tempo gain, like a must interact point for Dromai. Because you can now play a Miragai into Vinserakai on the Red Desert, and you'll be able to swing Vinserakai that's not on Red Desert, no Phantasm from Miragai, into Vinserakai that is dust from the Red Desert, which doesn't have Phantasm anyway. So you're forcing huge damage push through that Dromai normally doesn't get to do. Like that in a little vacuum is a huge swing, because you're presenting 12, maybe 14 if you do swing with Miragai, or more if there's other dragons on the board, with 2 swings of Vinserakai that cannot be popped. that is nuts. Like, that is a huge, huge, huge push for Dromai that she just didn't get before. So I'm very excited about this card. I don't really think the other ones matter, but like, that is something I absolutely want to play. I doubt it warrants the opportunity cost that represents slotting into the deck. No way. It is quite good. I promise you. That one's the good one. The other two are trash, but this one will really make waves in Dromai. I promise you. Because at the end of the day, it's also just a red block 3, and there's tons of slots that way that you can just flip around in Dromai anyway. They really needed Go again? I mean, in a way, sure, but at the same time, Dromai should be able to end the chain with a dragon attack that has Go again anyway. You can just kind of drop this down. It's not going to work in every matchup, but there's plenty of times that it will come up. Now, I don't think you want to take your turn to say, I'm going to drop Dust instead of swing Ash. Or Ash Wings, whatever it is. Like, that's probably not what's going to ever happen, but it's a flexible card. You don't need all 3 on the board. You don't. You need, like, 1 on the board. And that 1 on the board is going to lead into your double of Enserakai turns with Miragai. So I think it's very good. As far as, like, the other cards go, we've already seen Skullcrack and already heard from the devs that it is the Levi card of the set, not Berserk, and I agree. As much as, like, I wanted to hype up Berserk for my spoiler video, I did see the CNC in person. I'll just always be salty about this card, I think. I can't help it. Like, I'm always going to be a little pissed that this wasn't a Shadow Fabled. But it is very, very pretty. And I actually really like that it is it's a functional reprint of CNC in just, like, this absurd rarity. And that really helps what we've already seen happen to the other Fableds, where, like, Michael Hamilton keeps playing Heart of Fyendel. Heart of Fyendel is a Fabled. And so if you want to buy it, right now it's like $400. There's no other way to do it. And that feels bad because the Fables weren't supposed to be these must-buys. So CNC as a reprint in the Marvel, as like a Marvel Fabled, I actually quite like, because it's hard to complain about it. Like, you don't ever need this card. You don't. It's just for the flex. It's just for the little, money dump into these really pretty cards. And I like that. I like that because it is a little tough to see, like, Heart of Fyendel get bought out and all of a sudden it's worth like $400 just because it's a card that's actually seeing competitive play. That's not fun. I do love Rock. I think some of the cards we've seen are just absolutely fantastic for Rock, like obviously Skullcrack, right? Obviously Skullcrack. Feels bad about Heart. Oh yeah, sorry, Tark. I do actually really like Beat and Trackers as well, because Rhinar is the deck that doesn't really get easy Scabs value. Like, if you're playing Scabs, it's normally a greed roll, because you shouldn't plan for it with cards like Levi has the cards in her Banish Them that are playable, so you can at least, like, not really plan your hand around it, and then if it happens, cool, you play them out. Rhinar doesn't have that, so normally if you're rolling Scabs, it was because you actually had to be a bit greedy and say, I'm keeping this hand because I need it to be a Scabs turn, or maybe your opponent just, like, did nothing and you had a big hand. Well, now you have Beaten Trackers, and in terms of, like, the net damage, it'll be the same next to Goliath Gauntlet. Like, you lose 2 block, which is definitely big, but you can still get, like, the 3 damage in total out of it, and you actually have control now over this extra action point. With Rhinar is very, very scary, because Rhinar is the kind of deck that he's not going to play a lot of his hands to their max capacity. Like, he wants to trade them down, but then when he has the really good hand, it's go time. He has the non-interactive, just insane damage hand, and Beaten Trackers just plays exactly into that. So I quite like this card. Savage Beatdown, I haven't really seen the deck that, like, abuses it yet, but I'm sure it's actually very doable. It feels like an Arsenal card, right? Like, there is a lot of setup you need to put into this, but the payoff's massive. Like, the rate on it is pretty nuts. Like, you'll probably see this. Maybe Rhinar does, like, side this into Old Hymns or Guardians, whatever, anything slow that they actually have the time to play for. Like, maybe that's where it comes up. But Skullcrack's nuts. This card's really good. Berserk, I've tried it now so much, I actually really don't like it. I did put out the spoiler video, which I hope you all watched, because good God, I found this hilarious. Like, I made this in like 2 hours on Halloween night and was so happy with it. So happy with it. If you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, that's what it's a play off of. But Berserk is not just like an easy slot. You need to change your deck to maximize it. And from what I've tried, like it just makes so many of your in-between hands just awful. Because when you just stack your deck full of sixes, you lose a lot of flexibility. You lose your, additional non-attacks or instants or whatever that can like make your hands flexible. So I don't like Berserk. And when it whiffs, it's awful. When it whiffs, I mean, like, why'd you ever put this card in your deck? And it has to hit, it has to whiff at times because there are other copies of Berserk. There are Blood Rushes. There are blues in your deck. Isn't Levi just fundamentally bad? I think in CC, yeah, that's the reality. In CC, we've realized now Levi is fundamentally just non-functional. She can win. She can definitely win. But as a competitive deck, she is not there. Oh, shoot. Is this... That's live in the background. Yeah. I mean, really, after this weekend, the reality was the deck's just not concentrated enough with good cards. Like, you can have your great plays. You really can. You can have amazing turns. You can play turn cycles so well, but your card quality is just not concentrated enough to always be a good deck. Like, you draw some hands and you're like, man, this deck sucks. And there's nothing you can do about it because the card quality is just like pretty mid. But we'll get there. And like, I think in Blitz, she feels a lot better because the card quality is so much more concentrated that, you might have like one bad hand, but it's not going to be the end all be all. Like, you're not just going to, if you get one bad hand in Blitz, the threats are so concentrated that like, okay, next hand will still do something. Whereas in CC, like, oh man, I drew a hand that's like just a yellow Hungering Slaughter Beast. That's all that's playable. Oh well, next hand might be the same thing. Anyway, reincarnate. Oh yeah, that's this one. When reincarnate is discarded at random. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone's really excited about that one, but it is another yellow 6, so why not? This is kind of cool for Medax, right? Like, you can play a Medax deck that just never runs out of gas. That's actually kind of interesting for... Well, I mean, Clash isn't like a real format, but this kind of card would have been insane in Commoner, because I was playing like a Leviathan Medax deck in Commoner. The issue was you would just deck yourself, but this would have been nuts. Oh well. Blessings, not super fun. This is a rock card, which, I mean, in every other build, it's like probably not going to be great, but it's a rock card, so I do like it. What else like really stands out? I love this one, the name Rumble Grunting. I can see this, maybe not as a 3-of, like it's a little clunky for that, but this kind of feels like the red Unworldly slot in Leviathan, where it's a card that you want to run one of because like the value is undeniable, but you want to actually plan to play it. So I think you can pretty easily probably slot like one red in and just always get value out of it in Reinhardt. Like, it's just an arsenal card that won't clump. And a 0-4 in Brute is just always going to be nuts. I think if you add more than that, it probably gets a little clunky, but it does block 3, so maybe. I really wish Big Axe Warrior was just not bad. It's the theme of the character you want to play. Warrior got a lot of strange weapons, right? Like, they dumped a lot for Warrior that doesn't have a true home yet, but maybe that means the next set has another Warrior. Maybe it's the Belittle set next set when we get our Big Axe dude, or our little Big Axe dude. Guardian got a bit diluted this set, but we had Everfest already. Oh, Tark, thanks for the membership there, my friend. By the way, Ryan has your mat, so just meet up with Ryan. Warrior with a Spell Void Sword was definitely not on your guest list. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, some of that was very odd. They just dumped a lot of cards that no one was asking for, and then it unfortunately it harkens back to the conversation I had about Leviathan needing so many slots in a supplemental. They didn't want to just give her one card. They wanted to give her, like a handful of cards. If that was the case, then like, why didn't she get priority over like 5 of the just kind of random grab bag slots? Like, what the hell was that? But it's whatever. It's whatever. It's whatever. Gotta get over it. Hey, PMA. Welcome. Mr. PMA. Love it. Thank you, sir. You can now spam these wonderful emotes. There you go. Look at that. You got access now. Thank you. Yeah, but in looking at like my next CC deck that I really want to try to like play and I guess I would truly say like master. I don't want to just like meta slave on a deck. I'd rather really put the time in and master it. I'd say my top 3 are Dromai, Bravo, and Rhinar are my top 3. Probably in that order. I don't think any of them are like S tier decks, but I don't really want to live in the S tier deck territory ever, to be honest. Rhinar. Well, yeah. Of course, Nick. Look, the deal with Rhinar, like especially now, is he's really pushing the Levia rate on cards without having blood debt. Like, so yeah, of course I should start playing him. Like, that's nuts. That's nuts. Metaslave, is that like Iron Maiden's power slave? I don't know what that means. Iron Maiden. I hope I'm gonna open this up in a different browser. Iron Maiden power slave. Fifth studio album by the heavy metal band Iron Maiden. Hey, I'd listen to a song called Metaslave. Someone's got to do it. It's not going to be me though. The album, dude. Come on. You think I listen to music? I listen to musicals. I'm weird. All right. I love my musicals because I like to sing with them. But here we go. What else came out in this set that's interesting? There's the whole Katsu archetype, which is so far from what I've heard, just like very degenerate. I've heard that the damage just multiplies insanely well, like just kind of way too easily. Like there's that new combo line that's just nuts damage. It's the 0 for 4 or the 1 for 4 into this one, into this one. It's just like very straightforward. Oh, I didn't even notice. Is this only a promo? That's strange. Is it only a promo? Where's the normal one? Huh. Maybe it's just a promo. I don't know. Somehow I imagine you being a metalhead. Nah, I don't listen to metal. I do not. You should listen to music. It's pretty good. Thank you. No, I do listen to a lot of music. It's just like from musicals. No, look, you know, for me, here's the disparity between like probably your average Levia fan and then like how I view Levia. From your average like metalhead fan, you probably see Levia as like this crazy like, you know, death metal screamo whatever type person's probably into her, right? I see Levia and I think of like you know, Little Shop of Horrors, right? Just like this big misunderstood creature who, yeah, she's got her scary side, but it takes like the right guy to really like coddle her and like feed her and like get her the win she needs, right? That's my mentality. Little Shop of Horrors. Audrey too. Audrey. Wow, I don't think I've ever said that out loud before, and it sounds fucking stupid, but that's pretty much it. This is Levia to me. Sounds sus? Oh, come on. You've just never seen the musical. Alright. What else do we have here? Audrey tried to eat Seymour? Hell yeah. Levia fucking kills me to blood debt all the time. Yeah, she does. Look, here, there's even a great picture that I think I posted on Twitter. Look at this. There was someone cosplaying as adult Levia. You see this? It was so good. It was so good. I really loved the bodysuit. It actually gave me a great idea to maybe pull it off myself. But these were like latex and squishy. Really well done. Unfortunately, she did not place. But it's the first time I'd seen an adult Levia cosplay. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. Feed me Seymour. Yeah. See, that's Levia to me. I look up at her on the wall there, and all I think is, okay, I need to feed you wins, girl. Yes, I do. And we're going to stop. Potential to see a tier list for post Dynasty. Yeah, look, the thing about where the channel sits now is I really think these live streams are like more of the direction I want to take the YouTube channel. Mostly because I don't live near anyone anymore other than Nick Chubberdunkus when he feels like driving out. What the hell, Nick? But you know, what that means is for me to like keep my love for Flesh and Blood alive, the streams are just like, they're right in that vein. Like they're just so much fun. Hop on, talk with people who also love the game. Feels like I have friends over and we get to just play some games, talk about experiences, whatever. That is become like the lifeblood of Flesh and Blood while I live out here in the middle of nowhere. Whereas the videos were more of like, look, I'm so surrounded by like my friends, my locals, whatever. Let's like make some content together. Let's do gameplay. Let's do things like that. Now it's like a huge effort to get that together, and it's almost like depressing how hard it is to just even say like, hey, I want to record gameplay. So yeah, I mean, I still want to do some of that, like for sure. But the streams are the angle that are just easier for me to execute right now. Especially, you'll see it in the bottom scroll here. I'm streaming SCGCon Philly. Check this out. So SCGCon Philly is coming up this weekend. That's the wrong one. This one. And I have exclusivity to do coverage. And it's going to be insane. Like, I've put so much work into pulling this off. I have a bunch of sponsors. I've got the ad reel. I've got, I've got 5 cameras. I've got 5 cameras. I've got a friend who's going to help me with commentary. I've got the streamer tokens that you might have seen from this video. This one. Where is it? This one. So this was just done with my phone and some cheap ass webcams. But, imagine this like times 10. I promise you. There won't, Dennis, there won't ever be an official SCGCon stream, unfortunately, because they disbanded their coverage team. But through me reaching out, I have been given exclusivity to stream just, by myself. Like, I'm not sponsored by SCGCon. They won't help me. But through my own means, I can get sponsors. I can bring all my gear with me, jump through all the hurdles myself, but I will get support in pulling it off once I'm there, right? Like, that will happen. So, like, this weekend, I just can't wait. I promise you it's going to be the best, I promise, it's going to be the best fan coverage you've ever seen of an event. And on top of that, it is the first Dynasty event, because Dynasty will be legal, and it'll be the last Dynasty event before like mid-January. So I really hope that all eyes are on the stream. I really hope that it goes swimmingly, that it's perfect, and like I just can't wait. I really want like that to be more of the route that I get known for on YouTube, rather than just like random Levi content. Because let's be honest, like even the Levi content is like it's just going to be dry for a bit. We just didn't get anything, and we won't get anything for like 10 months. So gotta switch it up. LSS is out here trying to kill the Levi channel, so we'll have to respond in our own right. It's the last stateside one, right? You've got one there's one in November. Wow, okay. I did not know there was one in Hong Kong in November. But yeah, as far as stateside goes, yes, it's the only one. The only event. Better get all that Arakni coverage and spicy Dynasty list. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. So I'm in charge of it, right? You bet I'm going to go around and get what the people want to see. Like, forget just table 1, whatever's boring, like meta slaving away at the top. We're going to get what the people want to see. Of course, like the records need to be doing well so that the decks are actually impressive to watch. But I think like a true like fan-led coverage channel with like the production quality that this will have is going to be amazing for the game. Really. I mean, it's honestly so much more than a Levi channel by now, at least for me. Yeah. I mean, that's what I hope. Well, okay, see, that's what I would hope people recognize. But at the same time, every conversation I had with LSS devs, namely my coworkers over at the office, every conversation I had with them was, oh my god, Ethan, we love the Levi support. Thank you so much for always repping that hero, mate. You do so well. Thank you so much for what you do for the Levi community, League of Levi, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's all I heard. And I like that. I like the recognition. It feels great. I love the community we have. But at the same time, I didn't hear a single... By the way, that was my James White impression. I didn't hear a single, your streams are great. Thank you for the daily content. Like, we appreciate the grind. Like, nothing like that. I've never heard that from any of the LSS people. And not like I'm really pining for compliments. I don't care. But I did get a lot of compliments. It just like wasn't for what I thought I'd get recognized for these days. Maybe it's because they can't like really acknowledge Talishar. Like, maybe that's it. It could be the deal. Which I could see. Like, Talishar is still kind of in that gray area of like what's allowed, what isn't. I did actually hear. Okay, that's not super fair. I did hear a lot of positivity from this stream from LSS people, and that bodes well because like this was literally this top 8 stream I set up in like 20 minutes. It was awful. These are like $10 webcams that I didn't mind losing. This is just my phone, and I didn't even have like an actual overlay built. I just like was typing on top of stuff, and it still turned out really well. Like if you compare this is like a 20-minute setup, right? 20-minute setup. If you compare that to like the official Denver PTI or Battle Hardened coverage, right? This was the official coverage compared to like 20-minute setup. And nothing against like, you know, people who are trying to like bring coverage to the game. I love every effort. Like really, it's what the game needs. It's just, you know, I wish there was more of a standardized effort around like, look, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to do this. This is like a $10 webcam, and like a 3-year-old phone. And then like a tripod. And that's all it took. And damn, like if you want help on the overlay, this shit takes me like 10 minutes to make. Just let me know, you know. But like this was the official coverage, and you know, there's enough of a disparity that like, yeah, LSS did tell me, holy crap, like you did an amazing job. Thank you. No, but not official like LSS coverage. This was just done by Decks and Drafts by Joey, who did an amazing job getting commentary together, getting like cool feature matches on stream. It's just like what it looks like, right? Like what it looks like is just not enough, personally speaking. But anyway, what could you do with an actual budget? Oh, well, Martin, I spent like 6K on what you're about to see at SCGCon. I took all of that money that FedEx was supposed to pay me, which by the way, they never paid me, just FYI. The claim was for like $6,000 worth of stuff from when FedEx just lost my shit. They said they would pay the claim. So I said, okay, whatever. I'll go ahead, spend 6K. I'll be in debt for a bit, but you know, you're going to pay me back, so I'll pay it back. And then it turns out that no, the claim that they were willing to pay was like 1,600, not 6,000. So now we're back to fighting with FedEx. This saga just will never fucking end. It's awful. But I did go ahead and foolishly spend like $6,000 on what you'll see for SCGCon this weekend. I'm very excited. I really, really think it will be so good. What potential classes could you have switched off Levi in the future? Full merchant support. Full merchant support. Look, I don't hate myself, all right? I'm not a masochist. I genuinely love Levi. I really do. I think in terms of like playstyle that screams to me the next is Dromai. I love playing Dromai in Uprising Draft. Like it is by far my favorite. Not even close. And she definitely does play differently in CC. She's got a lot of very polarized matchups, but I'm willing to take on those kind of hurdles. Like very willing to take on those kind of hurdles. And I've got good people behind me who enjoy the channel who are also Dromai fans, like Dark Odious, who was just on. I think next most interesting after that is Bravo. I love just value grind in this game. I think it's still such a fundamental that's punishing against a lot of mid-tier players is just playing for best value. And Bravo is like the epitome of that. And then you also get to pitch stack like crazy, and I do love that. And then number 3 is like Rhinar, just because after playing so much Leviah, like sure, I like brute stuff. I'm not like a brute stan though. I don't play Rhinar or KO. I just really like Leviah. But I'm still willing, like, hey, look, I do like the brute cards, so let's give it a go with Rhinar, but it's probably in that order. Draw my stream to teach us the lines. Yes. That's you know, we'll have to go hard. I really can't do it now. I've got some work stuff to catch up on before I take another trip out to Philly this weekend. So I think in the meantime, like there's some assassin stuff I'm willing to try because it's not a class I like really think I'm going to buy into, but it's something that'll be fun. And I'm actually way more interested as well in like the slower Viserai decks, like not just the degenerate OTK Viserai, but like a value Viserai. I've seen a couple of versions floating around on Talishar that are really fun. Like Looming Doom Vis. It's actually kind of cool. I like it. People who are in charge of streaming don't give an F. Collect that bag and leave. All right. Well, look, I don't think it's that people don't give an F. I think it's just people don't realize how easy it is to actually put out quality. Like, I think streaming feels very daunting for a lot of people. So I've gotten like requests, you know, after some of just like my pop-up stuff, people are saying like, hey, like, what was your setup? Like, what did you do? And when they hear like, yo, this was like a $30 setup, it's very impressive to them, because I think most people really think it takes a lot more, but it's just my phone. Like, this is just a phone. This was just a phone. And then these like dinky webcams that I didn't mind losing in case my bag disappeared. So I want to put out, maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe it'll be like a masterclass or something in what it takes to like build a stream setup and how to make it mobile, because, you know, it's easy. It really is. Okay. Look. Viscerai, but this is like not degen 0 for 5 Viscerai. This is not Swarming Revel Viscerai. It's not. It's like a totally different kind of bad value Viscerai that just plays at a different angle. I like it. You love that? You'd even pay for that? Maybe that's like a Patreon video. Maybe that's what I'll pivot towards. Like, use my Patreon as like a behind the scenes for like streaming or something. That'd be nice. Like I said, I've never been in this like to make money out of it, but at the same time, I think we're very close to actually making this almost a full-time thing. Very close. After this weekend, talking with a bunch of people, picking up some new sponsors, there's a lot of people who believe in what I'm doing and like trying to push to become like a full-time streamer in a game that is supposedly dead to so many fucking idiot Magic players, is just kind of hilarious. Like, I would love to do that. And especially with progress coming up in things like the beta client, like, look at how much more enjoyable it would be to watch this kind of thing. And then, you know, hop on the road with me and stream events, and it just will be nice. We're getting there. So, yeah, you know, Patreon, that kind of thing is probably something to start pushing for, because we are, you know, realistically, like, yeah, maybe it's just not for fun anymore. Maybe it's actually a real side hustle. You should do a series of videos about how to do a quality stream. Yeah? Is that Fab is dead? Nobody plays it? I don't know really, because I don't play Magic, but there were like a bunch of posts coming from Tillarian Community College, because he was at Worlds, that were using that line, where it was like, wow, dead game, look how many people didn't show up for Worlds or whatever, and it's just like a massive haul of people. So that's why I mentioned it, because he at least said it recently, and he's like the big Magic guy. Your type of play is perfect for Reiner. You don't have recursion, but you have pitch stack in the grind. I love Guardian too, but Reiner sees some things you'll be naturally good with. I don't know. My issue is like, I've played Reiner before, and it's just so obvious that like brute cards are just not valued the same as aggro, like at all. It's just very rough. And so playing Reiner into some aggro decks, it doesn't feel like you're playing the same game, and like that really hurts. And I don't like that feeling. But yeah, I don't disagree. I think the playstyle is fine. Magic is just everywhere. If there weren't gaps in coverage like where you live. Magic seems pretty dead outside Commander. Yeah, I'm not really tapped into that vein anymore. I used to work at an LGS, and I definitely saw Magic ebb and flow. Like, we'd get 0 people for Standard sometimes. And then all of a sudden Pioneer would spike, but then it was Modern again. Like, I don't know, the play rate seems super fluid, but Commander's always stayed strong. Yeah, meanwhile, there were 3.1k people watching Worlds Finals live on Twitch. Yeah, I heard that there were like 18,000 unique views, is what LSS was telling me. 18,000 unique viewers for Worlds, which is insane. Like, I really think this weekend maybe we can hit 1k, depending on how good it is. The one issue is I don't stream on Twitch. I don't think the Fab community is really built for Twitch, so we'll stay on YouTube for now, but that might cost some viewers. I have a few Commander decks. It's a silly casual game. Yeah. Commander's definitely like a very unique vein of gameplay. Like, you can easily enjoy Commander and Fab, because Commander is just its own beast. Doesn't mean you're like a full-time Magic player if you just dip into Commander sometimes. because it's just for fun. It's a community game. Someone on the Discord MTG called MTG the Friends of TCGs. It just won't die. It's just always around. You remember the good times, but you keep checking in. It's still going. You don't need to play the barraging plan. Aggro Medex Reiner also is the Intimidate and can work like Vasili's build without blood debt. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, the Vasili build is also just not what I enjoy with Levia. It's just like an effort to push Levia into having like consistent 4 or 5 card aggro level hands, which it does sometimes, but also just self-implodes sometimes. And I really think that build falls apart against anyone who's actually good at the game. Not anyone who's actually good, but anyone who's good at like knowing the pulse of like when Levia struggles can really abuse that kind of list. Like an Oldhim should never actually lose that list. Them getting decked out by that list is I really don't know how that works. You have enough damage, but you're also just incredibly fragile with that many reds and non-blocks. I get that it's very functional. It's worked a ton on stream. It worked great for Vasili, but it's not the thematics of like why I want to play Levia. But hey, like maybe I should have just played that list at Worlds, honestly. It is a very successful list. All right, what should we do? I do have this Vipox list that is probably worth trying out. Or not Vipox, what's his name? Arakni. This might be awful, but we can try. Oh god. Alright, we're already into the mirror. And that already means like I probably lose because I've never played this deck before. I played it like once when I was waiting for my plane, and then I had to quit the game because the plane came. This list was sent to me by a friend who has put a lot of thought into it. Cards with 2 or less, that's probably not Arakni. We probably don't need to care about that. Non-attack? I feel like most things are attacks. Streaming right now, right? Yeah. This round's on me. Could be useful against the daggers, maybe. We could try that. Maybe we also add the Remembrance, since it's going to be a bit of a fatigue war. That could make sense. Fuck it. We'll try this. Yeah. First game. What do we want? First or second? I feel like we actually can't put that much pressure on going second, but do we really care about Arsenal? Whatever, we'll go second. Let's try it. You want the shreds? Ah, rip. Full 71? Oh, Jesus. Oh, look, we have more cards than our opponent, though. And 2 of them are Remembrance. So maybe we've done it already. We lucked our way into just winning the fatigue war. What else is this guy running? He's running a Fan, Ornate Tessin. Put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck if you do draw a card. So they're going to definitely like double swing. Do we really want to give them an entire card on each of their... Oh, they can only swing with 1 weapon, though. I actually don't hate that, then. What is this? Your contract cards, blue cards. Blue cards is relevant. Action cards, that's relevant. Do I want to go ahead, since I'm going second, maybe like swing the go again really quickly here? That's going to give piercing, though. Alright, forget it. It's good enough. Assassin is the new stall Oldhim? Really? It's interesting. I mean, it definitely feels like the gameplay of I'm just going to block 3, swing 1 breakpoint card, and then sometimes if you give me room, I'm going to do more than that. It's an interesting deck. Yeah, full fatigue. Interesting. Alright. Attack action cards. Attack action cards. Is this the same one? It is the same one. Alright, this is a Majestic though, so is it worth keeping? It costs 2. Then look at their hand and banish a card. This actually is quite good going second, isn't it? Yeah, this probably is pretty good going second because it actually forces a block. So maybe we do this plus the Fate. Get full value on the equips. I don't know. I don't know anything. My god, chat knows way too much about this matchup. I don't. Alright, we also get a bit of an opt-in. We get a bit of an opt. Relevant. Craft our draw. Cut to the chase. Gains +3. Oh, we got blown out. Alright, I guess... Interesting. So our opt actually is going to help us determine what gets banished. Because they reacted to that on top. So what is this looking to do? Attack action cards. So I guess we'll want to bottom this. Just so that they maybe whiff. Aha, look, they didn't get the silver. We're OP. We did it. All the opting. Relevance. What did they get rid of though? What is this? Target assassin. It's a red common. Probably pretty good value that they just took from our deck, to be fair. Oh, okay. It looks like we've got... These are some of the good cards. I do know that. Leave no witnesses. Which one's more relevant to swing? I guess we can't really afford this one anyway. We can just go like double dagger into leave no witnesses, arsenal plunder. Seems pretty okay. Seems pretty okay. Yeah, I do love the reactions in this deck, like the shred and all that. Good god, the card's nuts. The card's so good. I do really want to see Arakni do well at SCGCon. I'm staying with Phil McKay, who you might know from being a Salt Lord on stream. I do love Phil though. He's a good friend. Where was he? Phil, who made top 8 here. This guy, Phil McKay. He's top 8 Australian Nationals, yada yada. He's a good guy. He is my roommate for Philly. And I already told him, I'm going to make you famous, Phil. Phil wins Philly on Arakni. It's going to happen. He is going to play Arakni. Yes, he will. Do you have an intro to Talishar guide posted? I don't. A couple other people have done that. If you just like click on Talishar, if you go to the website, there should be like an intro video right here. Learn to play Talishar. So, you know, it's been done. I don't need to make one, I don't think. You're building it for him right now? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I know he's excited. He is very excited. Going double dagger doesn't seem good though, because they take one and block the other from the effect the first dagger is removed, if I'm not wrong, right? If they take one and block the other, the effect from the first dagger is removed. Oh yes, actually that's true, because it says the first time. So yeah, I guess that's what you ideally would want to do, is you take the first one and block the second one. That makes sense. Yes. Yeah, because it says the next time. They blocked with that all you got here. Alright. I guess we leave no witnesses. It doesn't feel like the best push right now, though, because we can't pump it. Maybe we don't get the block value. I should have thrown this on if we wanted to actually break it right now. Ooh, I almost want to do it. Just plunder into break black tech for leave and really blow him out. But it has to hit, right? When this hits a hero. But as of now, they can't de-react and actually block it because they are -1. Huh. I feel like, oh man, I want leave no witnesses to get value. Screw it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. They're not going to block this. They're going to let it hit. Surgical extraction. That costs 2. Sure. You can sink that. D-Reacts aren't affected by dagger? Oh, they aren't? Damn. Okay. Well, then maybe he just D-Reacts this. I'll just Arsenal leave anyway. What does it say? Attack action cards this turn. Oh wow, interesting. A little bit more of a punish. You know, this is we're back to the Bolton era. Attack action cards, eh? Ban list when? Actually, yeah, it is supposed to come out today. I guess not yet. It's 3 p.m. I think last time the ban list came out, it was super late. Like 6 or something. It was very late. I don't remember. But everyone was memeing about it. LSS is on Valve time. Oh my god, my brain's already exploding. I don't know. I don't know anything. Is it worth it? We don't even know if this contract hits, so I don't even know if I get the silver out of it. But I really want to take their turn away. Oh my god. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, this is so bad. Not like this. An embarrassment on stream. I'm sure of it. I should have blocked this last turn. Oh man. Ah! Alright. Nope, we didn't even get a silver out of it. Shoot. It's okay. He didn't react. What's interesting though is why is the dagger thing gone? Oh no, it is still there. Eradicate. What do I care about? Red cards? Ooh, but I kind of do want to banish Eradicate anyway though. They're not going to let this hit. But if they do, I want Eradicate gone, right? It's an M. Ah. They're not going to let it hit, though. Oh, they're running Cracker Jacks. Interesting. Yeah, I've seen a lot of toss-up on the arm piece. Every time I see Arakni, they're running Iron Rot Gauntlet, but it just feels like, just doesn't do anything. Iron Rot is just like for the extra block, right? Because otherwise, like, their block is actually pretty weak. Goliath at least hits the CNCs, the 2 costs. I guess Cracker can hit anything if it's just the right turn for it. Interesting. Jax is for the Eradicate. Oh, yeah. This deck feels way too much like Arcane Rising. The power creep is not there yet, but let's see. Alright, actually, yeah, so all we did was eat their counters. That didn't feel very good, did it? They're going to break these anyway. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, well, we do have a 2-card CNC. Arsenal. I guess Cut to the Chase is probably more valuable. Yep. Yeah, the cool play with Tunic and the at least 1 dagger, right, is you pitch blue for Spider's Bite into Tunic CNC or Erase Face or something, which is really cool. In Tanky Fatigue, Jax is king. Yeah, I'm not allowed to share Phil McKay's list, but he thinks he's going to win Philadelphia with his Arakni list. He feels it. So all power to him. I do have his list. It's very interesting. Very interesting. There's a card combo in there that I never would have guessed. It's very interesting. Yep. Well, you know. I'm not sure he's right about it. But to be fair, the dude is very distracted. He's like getting ordained as a judge or some shit this weekend. And then he's just flying to Philly just to try to win SCGCon. I really hope he doesn't scrub out. I don't want to deal with Salty Phil in my hotel room all weekend, but that's probably the reality, isn't it? 1 cost or less. Man, I just don't do anything with this hand. Sorry for slacking. It's second day Talishar. Oh, you're all right. You are all right. Ooh, this just doesn't feel good. Maybe I double block, but then I don't get my arsenal into the Tunic turn. Maybe I just let it happen. No idea. This only blocks 2 now. Forget it. Cut. Mask. Oh, because it's an attack reaction. Ah, dang, you are right. All right, we'll use that on the next one. We'll use that on the next one. Oh, you're so right. Yeah, these are not attack actions. Oh my goodness. That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah, both of these were actually unaffected. Jeez. All right, but it's okay. We'll use it on this one. But then our CNC actually does nothing. Oh well. Dang. Well, our CNC is just going to be deal 6. That feels pretty bad. But yeah, we'll at least get the block here. Alright. I imagine cut to the chase is more important than come to fight. I mean, this card's not even that good. So, should be okay. What I do like about Arakni coming out in this set, though, and I think it's really, whether it was intentional or not, it makes a lot of sense in that if a new player is getting into the game, even when they buy a supplemental set, they can have a deck they can build. Like, they just will have Arakni, which is really cool. I mean, that's great for entry point players, right? Where before, if you bought Everfest, what deck are you building? You bought Crucible, what deck are you building? You know, there isn't an easy jumping off point. It's, oh, buy Crucible. Well, that wasn't a great first starter product. Then you should buy this and really start building a deck. At least with Dynasty, if someone just leads in, they can start with Arakni. Whether they like him or not, they will have the ability to just build that deck. So, I like that. It's a good new player feel. For sure. Alright. Sack the shifty. Annihilate the armed. It's like this set was designed for me. All the alliteration. His core is cheap too. One of the more budget heroes. Exactly. Exactly. I think it's great. Obviously the legs will be a lot. Right, like that's just it is what it is. You know, every deck does need their L. Tunic, for sure. Okay, what's happening here? They went for the Eradicate. So we can probably just do this, and then when they try to react, we'll Fate Foreseen. And we'll blow them out. Haha. Your first box should be here tomorrow. You bought Uprising? Amazing. Uprising is a fantastic entry set. I actually am so happy with Uprising. It's hard to complain about that set. If I had to guess, I don't think anything from Uprising will actually be... Oh, come on. I don't think anything from Uprising will actually be banned either in this ban list today. If I had to guess, it's kind of like a... I don't want to like really say it because it's probably dumb, but I could see Polar Blast and Art of War getting banned. It sounds a little dumb. Maybe it's actually Cold Snap, but the just free replacement effects for Icelander really push over the edge. Like the Polar Blast and Cold Snap are just trade blue for 3 damage Frostbite, and you're trading for a random card. It's it's insane. Like that is just such a good trade for Icelander. They get to do it across 6 copies, Cold Snap and Polar Blast. And I think maybe Polar Blast was like not really expected to be played that way, so they might just axe it because it's not like any other deck is playing it. What is he looking to do? That can stay on top. It's fine. So I can see that. Art of War might be excessive, sure, but I actually just totally wouldn't mind Art of War getting banned. Like I think at this point, whatever. Like it's not a big deal in my book. The card has problems with Fi. It's definitely gonna have problems with Katsu. I'll just make it work in Leviah without it. C'est la vie. But I could really see Polar Blast. That's like my subtle take on the ban. Actually that's fair. Lexi really does like Polar Blast. Maybe it's not Polar Blast then. It could be Cold Snap. I think it's one or the other. Because both is just both of them in the same deck for Icelander is just such an insane consistency play. Oops, I have to pay for this. Let's use Tunic. I thought this was a 0 for 4. It's my bad. It's all right. Then we played for Tunic. We're smart. There we go. What does this one want me to ban? Attack action cards. Fate Foreseen. Yeah, you can sync that. You think Salt the Wind or Mask gets hit over Art of War? Ban Waning Moon, make her play Krakens. Hey, that's her signature weapon. It's what all Icelanders should be wanting to play, right? It's her signature weapon. Yeah, I could see Lynx getting banned in CC. Card is super problematic. Salt. Sure. They're not going to ban CLF. I don't think so. Card's not the problem. Like, the problem with Icelander is she converts every card into 4 way too easily. Which actually, funny enough, there's that whole discussion video that came out recently. Should we do this? This one seems like a pretty relevant one. Maybe I even mask. Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Hey, but we're up on damage. We're winning. We have same cards in deck. And we're up on damage. That means we win, right? And we have more equipment than them. They use Cracker Jacks. How often are the BNR announcements? Like every... Oh, yes, I do want to sync. Cut to the chase. Sure. Let's just do all of it. We'll click all the buttons. We're going to click all the buttons here. Oh, baby. Wow, that was a hand of Sync Fate Fate. That's crazy. Huh. So, because we still hit a sync and we sank 2 Fate Foreseens. We did hit a Sack the Shifty. I don't know. Doesn't seem that relevant, but... Alright, our attacks seem pretty bad. So we'll sync 1, for sure. What was I even saying? Who knows? Train of thought out the window. Yes, Icelander. Icelander is in a position where it is just very easy for her to convert her cards into being worth 4, while at the same time laying disruption on her opponent, which is pretty crazy. Because you feel like she should be taking some consistency hits somewhere. Base go again. Yeah, that one's bad. Eradicate. Oh, Eradicate. But she just doesn't really have to worry about that. She just powers through. And there was that whole video that came out on YouTube about the math behind the card design, which is actually not groundbreaking. Funny enough, if you remember Dozer, who doesn't really do YouTube anymore, but if you remember Dozer, he actually already had this whole math thing going on how Flesh and Blood cards are designed. And he already said all of these things that were repeated in this video that came out. I wonder where it is. Where is it? Honestly, he spammed a lot of content for a while, so I'm not quite sure where it is. But he already said all these same things about how cards are evaluated in Flesh and Blood. And it's like a formula that I think most people were already like pretty aware of, whether they had like the exact numbers down for what these guys actually figured out. Probably not. They definitely put a lot of work into it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's see. What was it called? Like Flesh and... Oh, it's actually... I remember the guy's channel. Vase Rum or something. This guy. So they put out this video. Nice little PowerPoint talking about how card design works in Flesh and Blood. Oh, it's going to hit. No freaking way. Yellow cards. Annihilate the Armed. I'll sync that, sure. Give me 1 yellow, please, so I can get 2 silver. Please. Oh, I guess it wasn't necessarily going to hit. That was just the opt thing. Oh man, give me all these cards. Heck yeah. Yeah, so this card formula on like how things are balanced, like what goes into a like attack, a defense, like a resource point, like how that works in Flesh and Blood card design. They mapped it out to everything being worth like around 8. And 8 is like a balanced Flesh and Blood card, is if you like add all the values together plus some of their other like heuristics and then like minus the pitch cost. I think here you go. This gives you a good brief on how it works. Then every card should be worth 8. And what makes Levia have to deal with Blood Debt is that her cards are actually worth more than 8, more than that formula allows. So for that, she deals with Blood Debt. Now, if you can build a deck that is strictly abusing like the best rate, then it's probably an optimal deck. But you should have natural inconsistencies somewhere in that deck building process. You should have your bad matchups, yada yada yada. Now, what Michael Hamilton did with Icelander was build an Icelander deck that is pretty much 4 card value in every hand. Like in every way you can express your hand, it's 4 card value. It's got your defense reactions, which are worth 4, obviously. It's got your Polar Blast, Cold Snap, Cycle, get Frostbite, 3 arcane damage worth 4. You got your 2 card hands, which are worth 4 per. Come to fight. All right, so, I feel like yeah. You never block the first one, right? I've got a D-react anyway, so it's fine. But anyway, so the Icelander deck not only can convert everything into being worth 4, it's also disruptive, and I think that's like the real issue in why Icelander is so darn good. Like her rate is what decks should want to be anyway. But she's also playing it in a way that makes your opponent's deck not play the rate it's supposed to. And that's just like a bit too good. So I do think she will see some ban. Like she will. Something will happen. I don't have an arsenal anyway, so I don't really care. I will just sink below, depending on what they do. In terms of sinking, I can get rid of the come to fight, right? Because this hand is just spiders into annihilate anyway. CNC. All right, CNC will actually work for next turn. I'll be able to... Yeah, this doesn't really matter. I'll be able to next turn Spider's Bite into CNC off Tunic. Turn after this, which feels good. How does Soul Reaping do in that formula? I don't know. I didn't personally math out like everything in that formula, but apparently they are eager to do it for like anything. Like if you have a question, just drop it in the comments and like they will try to math it out in that formula. But yeah, so that's why realistically, like Icelander probably should get something hit. And on top of that, I actually did talk to Jason Chung, the same Levi player, because he is the Wizard player on the dev team. And I asked him, in testing, were you guys playing something similar to Michael Hamilton's Icelander? Were you playing the 2-card hand attacks? And he said that they weren't. They were not testing that. And he was really surprised about it because apparently he loves putting in those 2-card hands into his decks. Like he plays the Barraging Bighorn or whatever it is. Like he will actively play that card in a lot of his Wizard lists. But he didn't play that entire build of Icelander around it. So he was surprised. Like he was legitimately surprised by that deck popping up and being so good because they didn't test it. That is not something the dev team played. How cool is that? So I feel like now, yeah, it's had its time. It's won nationals. It's won worlds. Like something needs to happen with that deck because it wasn't something that they actually were ready for in the metagame. Devs aren't perfect, right? Action cards. What is this? Action? Yeah, we can leave that. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Get some behind the scenes. I do feel very fortunate in that. Like I really got to hang out with the devs so much. It was so cool. Very, very... Wait, what happened there? Oh, cut to the chase. Is that not an attack? Shoot, it's not an attack. Oh well. Oh well. We threw. It's okay, we got rid of a red. Feel like the Belittle package might take a hit? No. So actually, on the Q&A panel, they talked about Belittle, and they really like Belittle. I think it's their mindset about it is like hella warped, but it is what it is. All right, so we know that our turn is just going to be Spider's Bite into CNC. So we're down to block with 2 cards this turn. Keep it blue. Yeah, you sunk. Oh, I did sink the Annihilate the Armed? Oh, shoot. Ah, whatever. Whatever. Not paying attention. It's story time still. That's the name of the video, right? Did you see the deck that won the Calling with Reiner? Yeah, I played against him. And unfortunately, our game was not that interesting. But yeah, he plays just for value Rhinar. No discard. It's just like a pummel Rhinar shell, which is like exactly what Control of I was doing. But then he runs the Blood Rush Bellow. Like that package is also in, which makes more sense in Rhinar's version of that deck because you still get Intimidate value. If you were jamming Blood Rush into... Did you guys see that? What's up, buddy? If you were jamming Blood Rush into like Control of I, it didn't make sense because you didn't get anything off the discard. All right, sorry. What are we doing? I feel like all these are relatively weak, but Reaction and Arsenal feels a bit better, right? So we can block with we can block with these. Should feel okay. Hey, no problem, Alejandro. Signing your mat. I love doing all the signatures this weekend. It was a lot of fun. Devs aren't perfect, Starvo. Yeah, actually, I talked with them about that too. Because they kept saying, right, that like in testing, Starvo wasn't the best deck. Like it could get beat. And like, Lightning Briar was like such a counter to Starvo that it wasn't doing that well, on and on and on. And I asked them, okay, so like if they thought the metagame was going to be Belittle Briar, like what decks were keeping Belittle Briar in check? And they kind of stumbled. They're like, well, you could build your decks to be like, pretty 50-50 into Belittle Briar, but she didn't really have like, a hard counter. And it's like, well, okay, so then why were you okay with that format at all? You guys didn't notice that like the format was awful? Whatever. Plunder the Poor. I guess we're just letting this one hit. We can't block it anyway. The unfortunate part is like our CNC once again lines up with nothing. Like absolutely nothing. It's very unfortunate. I don't enjoy this. This dude is playing around the CNC every time. But it is the rate that our hand allows. But yeah, their discussion on the Q&A panel about Belittle Briar was that they want aggro decks to be built around pitch, because if you don't build your cost curve to pitch as an aggro deck, that's way more dangerous, because that leads to like no brick scenarios, and the decks become way too consistent. Whereas if you add Belittle into an aggro list, then the deck is built around needing a blue, and then that will add like more of a neg and power to the aggro deck overall, which I don't super agree with either, because in a way, like adding Belittle, sure, it's building an aggro deck to care about pitch now, but it's not real pitch. Like you're not really building the blue count, you're just upping the Belittle count. So it's a little strange for that to be the actual rationale, but that's what they said. They don't want Redline Briar to be that best aggro deck. They don't want decks like that to exist. They want aggro decks to still have to pitch. There was a tear in your eye when you saw Briar did an LL. Yeah, it was really rough. I actually had Mega Copium because I had heard that the second place guy at Nationals was on Oldhim for Blitz. He actually wasn't. He was on Prism. But in theory, if he was on Oldhim and he won, then Briar LLs in CC and Oldhim LLs in Blitz. But unfortunately, that just wasn't true. Okay, this deck is not drawing like any relevant attacks, really. I guess this is a surgical turn, right? So we've got Cut to the Chase, which can hit surgical. We've got CNC, which can hit surgical. We've got Shred that can hit surgical. Maybe we keep this hand to go Spider, Spider, surgical. We can block with Annihilate. I don't know. Nothing really seems to be happening with this deck, not gonna lie. Also not playing it well, but it is what it is. Leave no witnesses? Not like this. I wanted that card. We can't even like one card return. We can't even block 3 one card return. Doesn't work. Yeah, we're gonna get blown out here, I think. Although, to be fair, we don't super care about this arsenal. Our turn can still be Spider, Spider, surgical. We can block with these for 6, but then, you know, that pump definitely brings it higher. I think it's fine. Just eat it. Hey, if I book you the Battle Harden, what are the chances of getting on stream? Depends on your record. I don't want to, like, not have people live for Top Cut. But just let me know. Don't forget Gauntlet. Yeah, definitely Gauntlet. One problem with when all your devs are pro players, that pro players, they're concerned with balance, but not that much with fun. If they're used to grind awful formats. Rainbow Chase? What's even happening with my deck? I don't even know. Oh, this is actually so telegraphed. Do I even care about the combat chain? I don't think this deck does. I shouldn't have done that then. That's alright. That's alright. Yeah, you get piercing there, bud. Careful. There you go. I don't understand why Belittle Briar isn't played more. It's very busted. I agree. I think that one's nuts. You can also still just redline and search for red minnow for pump. Yeah. No, yeah, it's... Cat, what are you... Buddy, what's up? You want to be on stream, Goody? Yeah, hi. Say hi, everybody. Playing with the pom-pom. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of Belittle. If it went, I would not personally be upset about it, for sure. But their design philosophy overall makes some sense, but then that also kind of means that they want Belittle Minnowism to just be the crux of every aggro deck. Like, if every aggro deck is built around Belittle, they are fine with that. They are okay with that. Which, in a way, has its own benefit. Like, if an aggro deck is built around 0 for 3s, then it's not... The deck probably isn't innately built around 0 for 4s. Like, that there is, like, a splashing of that in the deck, of course. But for Belittle to be consistent, then in theory, yes, like, the cards are weaker on a per card value, but the synergies there are normally massive. Like, you look at the 0 for 3s in Fi, and it doesn't matter. Like, they're great because next to Art of War, they're 4s anyway. Next to Spreading Flames, they're 4s anyway. You know, they make the combat chain long enough for you to get your Phoenix for free, you know, threaten Mask. Like, them being 0 for 3s is not a negative. If my Phantom attack with Go Again gets shattered on the block, do I lose Go Again? Yes, you do lose Go Again. The attack does not resolve. I don't think the Warrior's coming out this set. Or, I mean, obviously not. Like, we know it's not coming out this set. But I feel like it's very soon, right? Like, it's a teaser of maybe the next set. Like, an Axe Warrior would be very cool. Sink Below. Yeah, we can bottom that. This is not likely to hit, though. But we're hoping. I've actually liked Double Dagger. We haven't seen what this guy's done with Ornate Tessin anyway, but Double Dagger actually has come up. Cost curve isn't awful. Our CNC's just gained no value, which definitely sucked. Also, I don't think this deck... There's no way this deck is actually built optimally yet, because these kind of cards just don't tend to make the final cut. Like yellows for no reason. I mean, yeah, it's a reaction, but the rate is still not great. Oh, we got new bots these days. Normally it's the Tinder bot. Now it's a new dating bot, Mr. PMA. Okay, I mean, we got 3 cards out of him for R1. I think overall that's the kind of trades we want, right? That bodes well for how we trade. I'm just, like, I'm absolutely floored by how little the silver generation is coming through this game. That's crazy. I really thought it'd be easier. Maybe, I mean, pushing for the silvers is probably why cards like this are worth it. I'm just worried. I know at this point we've sunk 3 defense reactions back into his deck, which is not a lot of power remaining, but it's a lot of ability to block out my eventual big plays. And once again, our CNC is not live. Sheesh. I think we can just block with it then. Get rid of it. We can still double dagger with this hand into Annihilate. Seems fine. Did you enjoy San Jose? Oh yeah, you missed all the tales from Worlds, I think. That was the whole beginning of the stream here. Absolute amazing time. Wouldn't trade this weekend for the world. It's very, very fun. Very, very fun. Every single dinner. Let's see. For all the days I was there, the first dinner was a very, close knit night. It was just me. It was just Tall Timmy. It was Flukenbach's. We went to this amazing Mexican restaurant. What's really funny about eating Mexican with Australians is that they are just overwhelmed by the flavor because they don't get good Mexican food in Australia. It makes sense, right? Like it's not easy for like Mexicans to make it to Australia. It's not a very linear trip, right? Like it's like, how do they get there? So all right, it's a 4. I think I'm actually fine pushing with just this instead of the red here. Yeah. So when they eat something like a quesabirria or mole or whatever, it's incredible to them. Like they've just never tasted something like that. So that was a really, really great night. First night, very, very, very fun. Just a lot of talk. I actually went on and did Thunder with them later that same night. What does this one care about? Action cards? Oh, but I kind of want to get rid of their red. They are going to block this though, aren't they? Yeah, I'll sync it, whatever. We'll put it next to all their blues at the bottom. Whatever. So you're telling me you should start your own taco truck business in Australia? You would probably make a killing. They really could not wrap their minds around like just the simple flavors of just like good cheese on a taco or like mole on a burrito. Like they've never had something like that before. I don't even think the place was amazing. It was good. It was decent. But it's not the best Mexican food I've ever had, for sure. But for them, their minds were blown. Then we went and recorded Thunder that night, which was really fun. You can find that on the Thunder channel. Nice podcast. And then, and then next night was the night with like Saint and Phil and Fluke and Go Again Gaming, Mara, Para9, Tall Timmy, Matt Rogers, Nick Butcher, bunch of people. We all went to a Brazilian steakhouse. And that was really fun. We don't block this one. Oh my god, this game is so long. Also, hey, first of all, Nick Butcher, by the way, I actually really like Nick. But the first interaction I had with him on this trip, I feel like I'd met him before at Lille or something. Maybe we'd never even talked like in full, but okay, nice. We do get to block this. Maybe we'd never even like talked in full, but I in my head really thought that I liked Nick. All right, well, we get to just like spider into an attack, so we can get rid of the come to fight. We can get rid of the cut the chase. We'll leave these in the deck. He can't pump it. But Nick shows up at this dinner, and I'm like, oh, hey, Nick, like, good to see you. And the first thing he says is, hey, we played on Talishar, and you were very salty. And I'm like, what? Like, whoa, hold up, dude. Like, what's going on? And he goes, yeah, I was playing Bravo, and you just, like, were unreal with your amount of salt with the game, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, Nick, hold up, dude. Like, just say hello. Calm down. But he did talk more about the game. I do remember that game. It was actually on stream. It was the stream game where he played, like, a Rouse. He played a Rouse and didn't pummel it into a Nothos, and then pummeled the Nothos and made me lose Husk. And he's like, yeah, I went back and watched that. You were calling me trash, but this is the right play to make, and on and on and on. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, sorry. But in reality, he's still wrong. He should have pummeled the Rouse. He's still, like, taking a card from Levia could be way more impactful than a 50-50 that I do or don't block with Husk. Just saying, Nick. Just saying. But anyway, that was my Nick Butcher impression. I think I'd rather get rid of the Annihilate here because I can't pump the Leave No Witnesses. Plus a little breakpoint with that Spider's Bite. 10-10 impression. Thank you. I'm getting pretty good. I'm getting pretty good at these. Hanging out with a lot of Aussies and Kiwis. It's fun. Shred. Now you can put that on the bottom. You can have it. But anyway, Anyway, apart from that, I still like Nick. I was just very taken aback. I was just trying to like say hello, and he launches into Talishar Salt. I'm like, whoa, buddy, calm down. I don't even remember that game, but I actually do remember that game. Damn. That was a pretty upsetting one, not gonna lie. I wouldn't say I was salty after that game. It was just I was very confused by that game because there's just no way he should have not pummeled the Rouse. It's whatever. It's whatever. How'd you enjoy Worlds? You got to go back if you want to watch the rest of the stream. I went deep on the Worlds trip and everything that happened there. But overall, 10 out of 10 experience. No, 9.5 out of 10. The 0.5 was I should have just not played a brand new Leviathan build. I should have just played the build I was playing in Denver, and I've actually would have ended up with money. But to be fair, like I've been saying, I didn't actually deserve the money out of this event. Didn't put prep in, so can't be too upset about it. But bubbling out of $1,500, you know, it's going to sting. So that's 9.5 out of 10. It's how it's going to be. More important, what's the name of the cat? Are you still here? Yeah, he is. Hey buddy. Go. That one is Guri, short for Augurio in Spanish. Because my mom saw him as a good omen when she adopted him. I have my other cat named Mori, who is sleeping on the couch back there. Nick woke up and chose violence. Yeah, maybe. He was rolling dice and gambling the rest of the night. So yeah, I think he was just in that mindset. He wanted blood. It is what it is. Oh my god, this game is taking forever. It really is. I do think we're winning. But this entire game I've made 1 silver. The cat's name is now Spajinjo. Okay. Oh, we don't have a pump in this hand to make Leave No Witnesses any good. And this... I mean, easily enough, this hand is just like, you know, Spiders by Eradicate. I don't really want to... I think I'll just sink then. We'll sink the Sack the Shifty, just in case. The only gripe was the venue they used. I actually liked the venue. Like it was odd from the outside. Like it looked like a circus tent. But I was surprised it actually kept very warm, which is normally a complaint I have. So, you know, sure, it looked a little funky, but it was quite warm, which I enjoyed. The bathrooms sucked. That's fair. The bathrooms were awful. Can't disagree with that. Can't disagree. Did we actually... Okay, we did pull a cut to the chase. So we can actually go for the Leave No Witnesses play. Just because we can pump it. It's only by 1, but... So what? I just need this stuff to hit, because he is going to Arsenal, right? And he doesn't have block on his armor. So I think it is worth it. Abturney Bathroom's bad? Okay, well, to be fair, I think the problems with them were pretty exaggerated because, you know, the night before they had invited everyone to a huge, like, you know, binge drinking party, which not everyone partook in, to be fair, but I did. And you could tell that everyone was having the alcohol shits in the bathroom, like, the morning after, and the venue was not prepared for it, because those bathrooms were, like, carnival trailer-style bathrooms. They were not good. They were not ready for that. They really were not. To just have, like, tons of people come through so early in the morning. Anyway, I may have contributed. Opponent's red cards. Leave no witnesses. Yeah, oh man, if I can push this through. Of course I will. But yeah, they were really not great. They were outside the venue. You had to go outside, and the doors to get to them were not like really that close to where they were. So you had to, if you were inside the venue on one of the sides, you had to walk to the middle, walk out the doors, then walk back along the outside to get to the bathrooms. Now, if there were smokers hanging out at some of the smaller doors, then you had easy access. But the smokers weren't always hanging out, unfortunately. Unfortunately, world needs more smokers, and we actually would have been able to get to the bathrooms faster. Oh heck yeah, we got double silver. We did it. What was the arsenal? Is a blue plunder the poor? All right. What sucked was that the James White line always blocked the bathroom doors. Yeah, also that James White line, I didn't end up with a regicide map because of that. Because if you're playing in the main events, like how on earth do you ever get time for that? It was a little annoying. Little annoying. Yeah, the concessions were bad, but you could also just go out like one block and there was amazing food. Like amazing food. Just one block away. There was the Sofa Market, there was Voltaire Coffee, there was the like Soul Patch Coffee, whatever it was called. That place was really good. So there were definitely options. If you went for inside the venue, then yeah, you're gonna get shafted. It is what it is. Alright, we found our remembrance, which is kind of interesting in this mirror, because I'm sure that they've been shuffling, or not shuffling, but they've been putting some awkward cards on the bottom, and now we get to shuffle it. The banh mi was bomb. I ate at every place but the Vietnamese one, because they didn't have pho. And if I'm eating Vietnamese, like, I want pho. Voltaire Coffee was not a pop-up. That's funny, though. Oh, you know what was crazy? One of the craziest coincidences of the weekend was at the Guild House, the bar that LSS like contracted to host like the pre-party and the after-party, actually used the same Flesh and Blood font, like this font. Amanda Standard is the name of the Flesh and Blood font. They used Amanda Standard on their menu. And I asked them, I'm like, is that just for this event? Or do you actually use that font? And they said, no, they actually use that font. Which is crazy. Like, what a freaking coincidence. What a coincidence. Same exact font, Amanda Standard. But they were like, yeah, no, that's our standard font. So then I got to, spiraling into conspiracy theories. Like, did James White take a trip to San Jose, go to this bar, and fall in love with the font, and then make a card game based around it? Like, is that how it happened? Don't know. He definitely liked his drinks at that bar. We all did. But, yeah. Plunder the poor. Oh, yeah, whatever. I can't even respond to this. Do what you want. Oh, I guess I actually could respond with Remembrance after he chooses the top or bottom effect, which is kind of funny. Maybe I do that. I really don't think we ever lose now, though. Like, what on earth can this poor guy do? We can buy back our black tech, right? So I actually kind of do want to keep the double attack hand. So I think I'm just going to Remembrance and then let this go through. Just so that the shuffle. Yeah, there was also the Fab restaurant, yeah. I never went to that one, though, but there was a restaurant called Fab. Like, really, maybe James White just took a trip to San Jose and then came back and said, you know what? I'm making a card game. Maybe that's what it is. All right, what's the best target to shuffle back late game? I almost feel like it's a card like CNC. I really feel like it is. Because it always takes 2 cards. Otherwise, they lose Arsenal. And he's at the life threshold where... No, it can't be CNC, actually, because his life's too low. Because he would never actually choose to eat it anyway. It's got to be... just some good 0 for 4s. Like, Leave No Witnesses is probably good, right? Actually, at this point, they have a lot of blues. Maybe it's Surgical. They definitely have a lot of blues now. We can do that one. We'll do a Leave No Witnesses. Maybe another Leave No Witnesses. That seems fine. That's fine. Oh, but I almost do want 1 CNC just because we do have Tunic CNC coming up. Nah, it's good. Do this. Heard the Regicide music is an inspired Greater Rochester ad that caught me off guard. The Regicide music. Oh, from the little ad spot that they did on Twitter. I actually don't remember what that music was. It was good though. Oh man, that's a whole nother part of this trip that was so incredible. I got to hang out with Alex Norval from LSS so much. He's the guy who came like 2 weeks ago and has just been following around with his video camera. Yeah, I think I do want black tech, right? Hell yeah, let's do it. He's the one who's been following around like at all these events. He was at the Columbus Battle Hardened, he was at the Denver Battle Hardened, he was at Worlds, of course, just recording everything. In Denver, I got to sit down and actually do an interview with him for like some LSS feature ad reel that's coming out or whatever it is, which is pretty cool. But also, we just got to hang out a lot. Hey, Bilal, thank you for the $3. Look at that. Look at that. That's like an extra channel membership right there. How do you even... we were actually trying to figure this out. If anyone knows... It looks like you can membership gift, Bilal. You were asking about that earlier. If you click the cash button, there's membership gifting at the bottom. It at least shows up on my computer. Just for the future. Just for the future. Not right now, but thank you, buddy. Alright, so do we assume that one's going to hit? We do have Cut to the Chase lined up here. This one doesn't do anything. So it's probably not even worth it. Maybe I just turn this into another Spider's Bite swing. Into Plunder the Poor. I kind of prefer that. We'll save this for when we actually get value off the block. Only got super privileges at the moment. Interesting. I wonder how that changes. Dunno. Dunno. Also, what's up, Joshua? Good to see you. Good to see you again, of course. Yeah, the haberdasher. I know some people invited me to that. I never actually went though. I was very full up on my drinking. I normally don't drink a lot, and that's probably why every night got so wild. It's because like 2 drinks in, and I'll say yes to anything. And it was very easy to get 2 drinks in with this crowd. Tell you what, people were very eager to drink. It was fun. Wouldn't have really expected that at Worlds. $300,000 on the line, and all people want to do is party. But hey, I'm fine with that. It was a fun weekend. Annihilate the Armed? Yeah, we'll leave that. There you go. Alright, so maybe we actually misplayed because we could force lethal by Black Tech. It's low value, but we could have forced lethal. What's gonna happen now? Whoa, that's interesting. So we got an extra silver there, which I like. We can put surgical back. Our hand now is pretty rough. We shuffled back 3 attacks. Didn't find any yet though. A little unfortunate because they are at 2, but we can still force it, right? We just swing spiders into sack. And we'll be able to pump a little bit. Eradicate. So ideally, we want to keep the blue so that we can tunic for 2 daggers into the sack so we can lose... In theory, we could lose cut and shred, but I don't really want... I think this is the weaker one, right? Because that will pump. This one will pump compared to this just negates. Oh, no, but that's actually not true, right? Because... but they already just saw what I blocked with, so I don't want to actually change that. But in theory, they have to block it because they're dead. So actually, this is more valuable than just the +2. It's net more. But we did just show them the shred, so I don't want to change it now. Maybe they think we don't have another pump. That wine, though, the last night, steak was good. I've had better. I was actually not that impressed with that steakhouse. Not to, like, sound ungrateful, because it was awesome. The company was great. I'm very thankful that it was covered by Spencer. Shout out. But I did think the steak was a little weak. Not gonna lie. It took forever to come out. And then, I've had better. Like truly. For like an $80 steak, I would have really wanted my mind blown. And instead it was like, it was okay. It's okay. The dessert was fire, though. The wine was really good. Hard agree on that. All right, they do razor it. It's okay. Did you already talk about what heroes are impacted the most with Dynasty? No, not specifically, I guess. Hey, Alejandro, thank you. Welcome to the channel. Curious to see the timer on this game. Oh, Raven, this is an awful one for any kind of competitive integrity. It's definitely gone way too long. And on top of that, I stopped reading the cards on about like turn 2, and we just turned into a math deck. And luckily my math has just been better than my opponent's. So kind of lost anything interesting. Look at a card in their hand and banish. Ooh, baby. That starts to get scary. Because we can't let our attack go, or we can't present lethal. So we might be able to then just block with Tunic plus one of our pumps. Which in this case we do the shred, because we're not going to be able to Tunic for double spiders anyway. So we'll just do this. So that we can Spider's Bite into sack and cut, and that'll probably be good enough. Our contract showing in the effect area now? I think so. Because here's some contracts. Alright. A very weak hand, but we're still very ahead. Very, very ahead. And I'm just not paying too much attention. Feels bad. I wish I could put on a better show for my opponent. I'm sure there's been plenty of misplays. I definitely misclicked a contract. But at least we're seeing 2 of the same deck play out. Some good information on how Assassin plays, eh? How do you feel playing the new class? Oh, what's up, Pietro? It's interesting. I really like the angle it attacks the game at. I feel like we haven't really seen that before. It's a true fatigue / mill deck. But it's going to be up to the Arakni to actually win games, right? Like, they don't just have overwhelming damage. They also don't just mill at such an insane rate that, like, that's an actual win con. Sync Shred. So, yeah, I think it'll be up to the Arakni players to actually make this deck win. But I'm eager to see that, you know, that forces creativity. It's good stuff. Like, I think the reacts are so strong in this. Like, the shreds and the cut the chase are nuts. But if you look at the deck in a shell, like, you're not really pushing that much damage to make those reactions just win the game for you. They're just going to pump extra on hits more than anything. It's going to be a grindy deck. It's very interesting. Oh, they had a Fate Foreseen. Okay, it's fine. We got that blue out of Arsenal. Thank you for uploading the Nitro Mechanoid card. It's probably a difficult task. Fatigued you twice while playing Briar. Yeah, I guess if you're not blocking and you're just letting every card they've got just hit and mill and then get extra masks back because you've got all the sinks, or not the sinks, the silvers. Sure, that is definitely probably scary, right? They just churn through so much of the deck. All right, double surgical. Nice. Another remembrance. This round's on me. Should have probably gotten played at some point, but it's all right. We never did. We never did quite play it out. We really just want to eat whatever damage they throw so we can go spider, spider, surgical. And we'll take their full hand. Actually, that's not exactly true. They'll be able to keep one card because they'll block with Tunic on the surgical. Put a card on the bottom. I mean, we go to 1 first, but we force them to just keep a 1-card hand and then we win. So I think that's just okay. Right? It should be okay. Sure. We'll go to 1. What a grind. And then we'll also remembrance at the end of our turn, because we want to just draw more 0 for 4s, right? More 0 for 4s. Reckless swing. I wish. Do we think we'll be in metrics next set with the Marvel constructs? Could be. I mean, I think the card pool that leaves me with the most questions is definitely Warrior, because Warrior got so many new weapons. They got 4 new weapons. Double Dagger, the Spell Void weapon, and the Axe. And that to me is just... They don't really have homes yet, right? But that's a lot of weapons to just be out in the ether. So I almost feel like maybe something to do with Warrior starts coming next to give those weapons a home. If not, I'm not quite sure what they do. They're just out there. But you know, there's always a reason. They do release cards with intent. And supposedly with enough intent that Levi cards got shelved for this set. So, Now Guardians have a Reckless Swing. Yeah, that one's cool, huh? It is. I really think metrics makes sense because Arakni's from the pits, right? And so like a metric set is most likely going to be, you know, hybridized metrics and pits. So that would make sense, you know, explore a bit more about Arakni, because as of now we know nothing about him. There's no lore page, nothing. Steampunk Warriors? Yeah, that also makes sense, right? That also makes sense because we saw like Blade Runner has like the Achilles accelerator in it or whatever it is. I can totally see that, like a metrics pits set that brings new assassin support already, plus new warrior support, plus new mechanologist support, like another 3 hero draft set or something. Could be kind of cool because I think assassin and draft should be pretty fun. Assassin and draft is the kind of deck that really is going to reward game knowledge and like just constructed, well, I guess draft constructed knowledge with the whole banished top card of deck, in just remembering like what was passed in draft, like what kind of power cards exist in the pool. I think it should be really fun. Like I want to try this in draft. I really do. Ah, yes, all the sinks I sunk. So they actually have what, like another Fate for Scene or something too. I'm not even paying attention. Let's just end this game. Oh my gosh. Assassin isn't in the base set though, so how can draft? Well, that's what I mean. Like a future set coming from the metric / pits region would be draftable. It wouldn't be another supplemental. And so that would mean whatever heroes are in it are then draftable. And Assassin, Warrior, Mechanologist, that's a pretty cool combo. We've never seen those all together in one. And then we do want a Remembrance back. Let's get in some 0 for 4s, eh? Actually, maybe the answer is pump cards. Do pump cards matter right now? Come to fights? No, because it's not really a breakpoint, right? We do have our black text for like... Oh, but black text also useless because it needs to hit to gain go again. Yeah, that's useless. So let's just grab our 1 for 5s then. Because we'll be able to keep bigger hands. We should always be able to play them. 1 for 5. 1 for 5. There we go. Submit. Should be good. Should be good. Yeah, perfect. Leave no witnesses. Yes, I mean, it does demand 2 cards, obviously, but then we'll be able to throw 1, then 5, which is once again going to take 3 cards. And then the moment they don't have a 0 for 4, we will win. So we should feel pretty okay. Was there a ban list update? I don't know if it's out yet, but there was supposed to be. I guess it's not out yet. So there you go. That's the answer. Because we know their deck is weak. They haven't played a Remembrance. I honestly don't know the cards well enough to like really check through what's been played. I do need to brief myself on them because I'll be doing coverage. And check out this wonderful little card pop-up thing that a friend made for me. Let me show you. There will be live card pop-ups. Now, I couldn't get access to the Team Covenant one. I tried. I asked very nicely. I was like, please, 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 I will give you an ad slot on the stream if I can use your little bot that does the card pop-ups. And they said, unfortunately, their people were like a little too busy. But check this out. Check this out. So we've got this little card viewer, right? So let's see. Let's put sack the shifty. So it pops up, right? And then of course, like I'm going to track that in OBS. Oh, they're playing a shred on the sack the shifty. Look at that nice little transition, little fade. So we've got that. We've got that for the stream. I'm telling you, this SCGCon is going to be so good. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And then annihilate. We put those 1-for-5s back because I'm just assuming he still has like one more fate. So we do want to always force 2 on that second attack. There's 1, 2. Oh, we did banish a fate, so he is out of them. Never mind. Or they're out of him, rather. You'll be playing and not watching. You can go back and watch your heart's content. I promise you it'll be worth it. The commentary is going to come from yours truly, plus Alex Keeler, who has top-8'd like 3 Battle Hardens. Top-8'd Philly last year. Top-8'd another one, got second at another one. But he is not playing these days. But he's still a very good player. I'm happy that he will be joining me. It doesn't matter. You can keep that, yes. If you stream with OBS, you can just make that card viewer within OBS. Me and my friends have one that works. What do you mean, make that card viewer within OBS? Because I have it linked where, you know, OBS is like pulling it, and there's a mask on it, so it'll only actually trim the actual card, and it still preserves the like little transition effect. But I have to manually search in the pop-up, not in OBS. So it works pretty well. But what do you mean? You can search within OBS? You should let me know, Dwar, how you did it. All right, come on, opponent. Let's go. What do you think about Worlds overall? 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. In brief, my minus 0.5 is because I bubbled out of the money. But it's all right because I really didn't deserve the money. Didn't put any effort in and got drunk every night. And still bubbled out of top 64. So, you know, that was just my bad. Just my bad. It's all right. But everything else was fantastic. Every night was fun. Every person was awesome. Other than goddamn Nick Butcher. What the hell was that, Nick? Come on, man. JK, love you. I ended up getting a job at LSS. I now am Newsun. I work in game dev. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, just all kind of good stuff. Nice, you look a lot better than Newsun. No, what are you talking about? They downgraded. He's got style. I don't. He's got great style. Oh my god, we're running Regicide. I've never even seen this card in hand. I forgot. It must have gotten, we just never saw it, and then we shuffled Remembrance, went to the bottom. Makes sense. You know, he doesn't really have that many cards banished, does he? So he probably will be able to block this. Did you hear about the dev who pulverized and old him, then pulverized again, then finished him with dominated red Macho Grande? Was that Pearson? Jacob Pearson? He was playing Bravo. That sounds like his kind of deck. Jacob was the only dev who actually made it to top 4. Everyone else, I think it was like, what were there, like 7 devs? 5 of them lost round 1. 2 of them made top 8, and then only 1 of them made top 4. Something like that. It was not a great showing for the devs. Alright, once again, we've got... Well, we want to keep our blue. This is just going to take forever, but like, he does deck out. Like, this is the last time he gets a hand. We just go Spiders Annihilate. Oh my goodness. Shows how strong the top 16 are. Yeah, in a way. I think the devs are also just, they're not used to this format at all. Because they haven't really played this format. They played formats with bans that didn't actually happen. That were maybe akin to this format, but then they've been playing internally a format that's like 2 years in the future. Like, they're probably just not actually clued in on the best decks. right now. I mean, from my conversation with Jason, he's convinced a Levi deck is busted that I personally don't agree with, but you know, they don't operate with the current cards in the game. They operate with future knowledge. And so maybe in making decisions, scaling back down what cards are actually out, they're overvaluing things that are just actually not good right now, which could be it. Probably is the only deck you've ever played where you could heave a Pulverize, use the Seismic Surge tokens for Dominated Crippling, and still get off a Dominated Pulverize next turn. Yeah. See, I do like Bravo for those kinds of things. I need to completely rebuild him. He's one of the decks that I lost in return from France. In fact, I pretty much lost all but... Let's see, what I have left over is like Bolton, Fi, Drome my Icelander, because I was able to rebuild those from bulk, and then like some Briar stuff. Everything else I don't have. GG's. Which is too bad, because I had some nice Bravo altars that are now gone. Alright, so here we go. My playtime was actually way longer than it should have been, to be fair. But we've got total game time of 72 minutes. Sheesh. That's alright. That's alright. You know, it's all we could do anyway. We just had time for the one game. When they go that long. But I do have to peace out now. I'm gonna go tour a house. Maybe switch my lease. We'll see. But that is all. So if you missed some of the Worlds recap, or if you missed if you missed the Worlds recap, which we actually did pretty in depth, look at this. Look what I made for y'all. Then you can go back and find that at the beginning of the VOD. But I'm gonna peace out because I got stuff to do. And is that card viewer app open source? No, it was sent to me by a friend from Brazil. I can tell you his the channel they run is called Contador Natunic. You can find their channel, join their Discord, and ask for the card pop-up. That's probably the best way to do it. But he did reach out. But anyway, I'll also stream tomorrow and probably try out like actual some Dynasty things, because today was mostly just recap, right? But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back, and then on the road and bringing you the best coverage you've ever seen. So with that, one more time. You can call me Newsun Sant these days. We'll peace out.